Furniture for you. I know you don't think that the teams are able to cope very well with having weeks off since their previous game. East Carolina and Texas Tech coming up from Houston inside the dome there, which is a good thing for both offenses because it's been pretty wintry in Texas the past week. But how will those teams handle the layoff? The Texas Tech spread offense is a timing offense.
It's a timing thing, and it will be an issue for them. The longer you lay off in a timing passing attack, the tougher it is for you. The conditions won't be an issue, but if it had been a condition thing, it would be a problem for them. The timing is so very important. Quarterback and receiver, timing the drops, getting the ball to the right place is an issue. I think we could see some drop balls, maybe some interceptions because of the timing here.
It's one of those tough matchups to judge. East Carolina and Texas Tech have never met. East Carolina doesn't really play teams from the Big 12 Conference. When you look at Texas Tech, here's a team that was able to beat kind of the weaklings of the Big 12 Conference and get some non-conference wins, but didn't really defeat a real quality team in that conference. They played some people tough, but that's the only way we can judge this team. The fact that they played Kansas State tough, played Oklahoma pretty respectable as well.
Well, they're going to face a pretty good passing attack. It's going to be an issue for them, and also a big quarterback who knows how to get rid of the ball and run a little option as well.
You can see David Garrard. He is one of the big horses in college football, a guy that certainly has NFL potential. So it's Garrard and East Carolina against KLIFF Kingsbury and the spread of Texas Tech. We go down to Houston. The inaugural Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl is coming up.
Welcome to Capital One's presentation of ESPN Bowl Week.
Great opportunity, man. Great opportunity.
Focus! Focus! Focus!
You're special. Now love all you got. Let's go play hard.
Absolutely incredible. They are the images and accomplishments from bowl games of the past. Performances that shine bright this time of the year. Tonight, for the first time ever, East Carolina takes on Texas Tech. Head coach Mike Leach took his high-octane air attack from Oklahoma to Texas Tech. This year, no one assaulted the air more than the Red Raiders. But now, David Garrard and the swashbuckling Pirates await. It's the Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl next.
One of sports' most storied arenas plays host to college football's newest postseason edition, as two teams with something left to prove square off in the inaugural Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl. Defending state's honor, Big 12 representative Texas Tech. A revamped offense led by sophomore quarterback KLIFF Kingsbury has put the Red Raiders back in the bowl picture. Tonight, they put it to a postseason test. Awaiting the challenge are quarterback David Garrard and East Carolina. Once considered their home state's other team, the Pirates have built on a reputation forged in hard work. Will it pay off? East Carolina and Texas Tech. We take you to the kickoff in 60 seconds.
Love college.
Sophomore quarterback KLIFF Kingsbury and the Texas Tech offense have put up impressive numbers and wins on their road back to the bowl season. Tonight, Red Raider fans hope their aerial attack is the Astrodome's lone star attraction. East Carolina's offense offers an impressive resume of its own. Led by the multifaceted David Garrard, the Pirates hope they prevail in an old-fashioned Texas shootout where the last man scoring wins. Inside the Astrodome, we welcome you to the first ever Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl. And the matchup tonight from Conference USA, the Pirates of East Carolina, and from the Big 12, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And welcome to Houston. I'm Dave Barnett. Perhaps it's appropriate, since this is the first ever edition of this bowl game, that it's the first meeting ever between the Pirates and the Red Raiders, two teams that could not have any less in common, at least on the offensive side of the ball. For East Carolina, you're looking at a very traditional offensive approach under Steve Logan. They'll run it about 42% of the time and pass it 58% of their snaps. While on the other hand, in Mike Leach's first season in charge of Texas Tech, they run it only 18% of their snaps. And Cliff Kingsbury is going to drop back to throw 82% of their plays from scrimmage. Bill Curry, one thing they do have in common is the quarterbacks. They're very effective on both sides.
Both quarterbacks are good, and David Garrard, the quarterback for East Carolina, is so tough, according to his offensive coordinator, Doug Martin. He says he'll knock you naked and hide your clothes. What he means by that is this guy can run as well as throw. He runs the option, and he can improvise when the protection breaks down. But what Garrard really loves to do is to throw the deep ball. Of his 19 touchdowns this year, 12 have been over 20 yards, 9 over 40 yards. What that means for East Carolina is an excellent blend of balance as well as the capacity to strike quickly. But you know, there's a very good player over there on the other side of the ball, on the other sideline tonight.
Boy, you're right, Bill. Cliff Kingsbury, the quarterback for Texas Tech, is throwing the ball like crazy this year. And remember, just 2 years ago, this was a running team. Ricky Williams was 4th in the nation in rushing. But oh, how times have changed, and because of that, look at Kingsbury's numbers. He has set all kind of records this year for Texas Tech. But outside of those gaudy numbers is what happens before the play. That's where the fun starts. They'll have quick huddles. Sometimes they'll call the play at the line of scrimmage. It's what Kingsbury does before the snap, checking out East Carolina defense, trying to bait them into a defense so he can call the specific play for it. It is like a chess match out there. The fun to watch is really before the snap. Now, Michelle, Bill and I have been talking about the 2 triggermen for these teams, but I'm sure there's a couple of defenses that would really like to have a say in the outcome of this one.
Well, absolutely. Texas Tech boasts 5 of the top 10 tacklers in the Big 12. All 5 of them have at least 100 tackles each this season. They've been led by sophomore middle linebacker Lawrence Flugents. He was a backup defensive end last season. The new coaching staff came in, they moved him to linebacker, and he totaled 156 tackles. That's up from 6 all of last year. This year's total, 4th best in the nation. Well, East Carolina, on the other hand, relies on depth. Defensive coordinator Tim Rose will rotate as many as 25 players, keeping fresh legs on the field at all times. And on top of that, his defense likes to joke that they're the ECU track team. They say they've been put through so many running drills and feel so well conditioned that they believe they can outplay anybody well into the 4th quarter. Dave, back up to you.
All right, Michelle, and we have here matchup between coaches who in different ways inherited difficult jobs. For East Carolina and for Texas Tech, they were taking over pretty tough acts to follow. Mike Leach, his first year in following Spike Dykes, the winningest coach in the history of Red Raider football, and 7 wins in his first year. He gets them back into the postseason. Their last trip to a bowl 2 years ago, a loss to Ole Miss in the Independence Bowl. And for East Carolina, Steve Logan took over after the best season in Pirate history. 1991, they won 11 games. They finished 9th in the country, and Bill Lewis then went on to Georgia Tech. Logan, in his 9 years, a school record 58 victories. He has them in their 6th bowl, 2 Liberties, an Independence, a Peach. And last year, they inaugurated another first-year bowl, the Mobile, Alabama Bowl, where they fell to TCU. But a very business-like approach for Logan and the Pirates coming into this week. The message was loud and clear to his players. This was not a trip just to enjoy, but to win. And Texas Tech ready to get us underway. Clinton Greathouse will kick to a very dangerous Keith Stokes and Terrence Copper. Second in Conference USA, in fact, is Stokes. So they're back deep. And Greathouse gets the first Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl underway. And from the 2, Stokes up the right side on the return, and shows why he had such impressive numbers during the regular season. He reaches the 38. And David Garrard will be in business from there. 2nd in school history, behind only Marcus Crandall in total offense, the junior out of Durham. With Leonard Henry as top running back, Stokes his top receiver, Harris also very dangerous, Powell, who's also the backup quarterback, and Burns is their 3rd most popular target at tight end. The offense had averaged 386 total yards per game. Sends Powell in motion. And a play fake on first down, and the toss is to the wide open Burns, who fumbles it out of bounds at the 45-yard line. And a gain of 6. And a sigh of relief. The offensive line up front for East Carolina, they are led by Sherwin Lacewell, senior out of Durham, second team All-American.
Yeah, that's a guy you want to keep an eye on. Two-time All-Conference guy. He'll go on to the Hula Bowl to try and impress the pro scouts.
And up front, the Texas Tech defense led by Chris Kosurik, senior from Caldwell, Texas. On second down, they run option. Garrard could be dangerous there. The toss is to Leonard Henry. Henry easily picking up first down yardage into the 42 of Texas Tech, a gain of 13, knocked out by Antoine Alexander. The linebackers are the strength of this Tech defense. Michelle told you about Klugents. John Norman, second in the interception category with 3, and a secondary led by Kevin Curtis, who was their only consensus all Big 12 selection.
Kevin Curtis is around the football all the time. That's why he's first string all Big 12.
First and 10, 42 of Texas Tech. And Garrard with increased threat drop and hits Stokes with his first completion. Stokes will pick up about 5 to the 37, and Alexander is there for another tackle.
Well, already you've got to like what you're seeing out of East Carolina, just the difference in plays. Bill, you talked about Garrard at the top and just how dangerous he is, and he's yet to run the ball, but he's spread the ball out to 3 different people already. It's exactly the way to start the game. Get the different amount of plays right off the bat and have them be successful.
We'll see him throw short, deep, run the option, and everything in between. Second team All-Conference USA as a junior. Garrard with an empty backfield. Sees the middle open up, and he's close to a first down. He's going to be about a yard shy at the 33, where Devin Lemons brings him down.
Mike, reflecting on what you just said about the number of receivers and variety in their opening game against Duke University, 10 different players caught the football this year.
Yeah, Texas Tech's going to have an interesting, what are they going to do to Garrard? Are they going to spy him a lot? If you do that, you take somebody out of coverage. That way Garrard's able to spread it out to all those different receivers.
They go with the eye on 3rd and 1. And again, run option, and Garrard will turn it up and keep for a first down to the 30.
The reason that Garrard is such a threat on the option is not because he's shifty and quick so much as that he is powerful. He came into camp at 260 pounds 3 years ago. He's down to 235, but he falls forward. He runs over linebackers and makes first downs repeatedly, just like that.
He's bigger at 235 than all but 3 of the guys who are going to be trying to tackle him on the Texas Tech defense. With 4 wides on first down, Garrard hit as he throws, and that one floats harmlessly out of bounds, incomplete. And let's send it down to Michelle DeFoy.
Well, you were talking, Coach, about David Garrard. He says he weighs 268 when he came into ECU. His teammates insist it was more like 273. Either way, Steve Logan demanded a change. Garrard says during the summertime, Logan ran him at noon in 95-degree heat, wearing a sweatshirt, and the quarterback dropped 30 pounds in 3 months.
That'll do it.
I guess so.
And he's still called the buffet killer. So it's a continuing battle for him. This swing pass to Stokes, who scampers inside the 20 and has another Pirate first down at the 17, a gain of 13 for little 5'8", 180-pound Keith Stokes.
Now, this does not look like a difficult throw, but it is. One of the most difficult throws in football. This is a forward pass. There's no such thing as a lateral. There's a forward pass and a backward pass. That must be thrown forward and caught with forward momentum by Stokes. Beautifully executed and well blocked.
And well blocked by, exactly right, 2 receivers down the field. Harris and Dodd, 2 guys that got down and stayed on their men.
With the eye, first and 2 from the 17 of Tech. Movement up front, flags. Henry slanting off tackle for a couple. But you had a couple of black-shirted Red Raider defensive linemen jumping. We'll find out from the referee from the Big Ten, Bill Lamonnier, this entire crew from the Big Ten, whether they were drawn on. And they weren't.
Now, Mike, you're a defensive lineman, and we tease about that a lot. But after all this time off, it's tough to discipline yourself to watch the ball instead of listening to the snap count.
Oh, and this early in the game, you know, you want to get off on a good start, especially this Tech defense. As we get driven on here, you try and make that big play so you guess on the snap count every now and then, and it costs you. If that's going to happen, you better make up for it. Come up with a big play on down the line.
So the 5-yard mark off. You're just inside the 12 for 1st and 5. And again out of the eye. It's time to give to the first man through. Derek Helms, who slams forward for a couple. Now, if you're Texas Tech down there, you're a team that relies on the passes, the short passes, to be most of your running game. A little different for East Carolina, which can rely on either the running or the passing down here.
And you're seeing an effect of half run, half pass, or a more balanced offense than what Texas Tech brings on offense when you're able to run or pass on first down and be in second and short.
Second and 2, fake keeping, late pitch, steered nicely by Leonard Henry. He avoided disaster because Garrard let that one go high and behind him.
Oh, that was close to being a forward. That was a heck of a, you know, this just shows you about Garrard, coach. He wants to run somebody over.
Yeah, but I had an old coach named Charlie Tate at Georgia Tech who used to say, son, you're neither fish nor foul. He was neither fish nor foul there. He waited too long. He should have either kept it or pitched it immediately. It really should, it was a pitch play.
It was a pitch play.
And his indecisiveness hurt him on that play.
Thanks to Henry, 1st and goal from the 5. The other way, Garrard will keep and he'll walk in untouched for the East Carolina touchdown.
Watch the difference in this play. Okay, we're not going to see it, but the difference was decisiveness. He immediately knew that he had the gap and he took it rather than to hesitate. That was the difference.
Great opening drive by East Carolina. Great.
Kevin Miller, 42 of 43 PATs during the regular year, and this one is blocked. And the Raiders scramble, try and pick it up for a return. They won't, but they will keep it at 6-0 Pirates. On a 5-yard option keeper by David Garrard. East Carolina on the board the first time they have it in the first ever Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl.
Behind this door is the finest, fastest, and most affordable.
Very impressive first possession by Garrard, East Carolina, as they go 61 yards, 10 plays. He keeps it the final 5. And Chris Kosurik blocked the PAT attempt by Kevin Miller to keep it at 6-0. Give him just under 3.5 minutes to get the early lead. And now Miller ready to kick it deep to the dangerous Wes Welker, true freshman out of Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma Player of the Year last year. It's an onside kick, and it is recovered for East Carolina by Marcellus Harris at the 49. Called pulling out all the stops.
Dave, what that is 2 consecutive careless special teams efforts. East Carolina drives the length of the field, scores, has the extra point blocked because of a low kick and poor protection, immediately lines up, executes the onside kick to perfection. Oh, nice job.
Just a little pooch kick, and I'll tell you, that's a gutsy call and a great call by their head coach, Steve Logan, who, when they started their practice for the bowl game, ran these guys to death right off the bat, and the player said, this guy wants to win this game. That is a gutsy, great call.
Well, this drive starts from midfield. Aaron Hunt comes in and forces Garrard to throw that one over his bench. Hunt, the leader for the Red Raiders, 8 sacks during the year. And Kosurik met at Garrard.
Well, Texas Tech is going to decide how they want to play Garrard now. I mean, if he's going to option, do they want to hit this guy right away and force the option a little more? They've been on their heels on that first drive.
Yeah, it's easy to talk about smashing the quarterback every time on the option, but you got to defend everything else.
No, I want to hit him. I want to hit him, Bill.
I don't think you want to hit this.
2nd and 10. This one was caught by Corey Floyd. Just 4 catches during the regular year. Short gain down to the shelf to 40.
Well, you guys, Texas Tech's defense was more than ready to retake the field as quickly as they were. Greg McMacken, their defensive coordinator, spoke very sternly but very patiently to them. They all said to one another, there's a whole lot of this ball game left. It's very early. They don't give up opening drives very often. But when they saw ECU get the ball back, they ran out and onto that field very ready, Dave.
Greg McMacken, a great hire away from the University of Hawaii's record turnaround team a year ago. So 3rd and 7. Garrard in the gun. And another short completion isn't going to be well short to Terrence Copper of first down yardage as he's tackled immediately by Antoine Alexander.
See, Mike, we don't want you to hit Garrard because he would knock you naked, hide your clothes, and nobody wants that.
No, believe
nobody. We don't want that.
I don't even want to see that anymore. It's my body. Good job by Texas Tech. Their defense looked like they were a little more aggressive that series.
But Steve Logan already proving this is a night when he's going for everything there is to go for. And so the offense still out there on 4th and 3. They were only 25% during the season converting 4th downs. Just trying to draw him offside, and Tech is not biting. And the time runs out in the play clock. So to the credit of the Red Raiders, they stayed disciplined.
Don't be surprised to see Logan come back to this situation. Here's the call.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Don't be surprised to see Logan get back in this situation, 4th and 4 or less, appear to be doing the staccato snap count, and then snap the ball. I'll guarantee you it's in his repertoire.
Staccato?
Yeah, yeah. That's for you defensive linemen to not understand.
Told you about the big word thing.
Miller also handles the punting for the Pirates, as from midseason on. Paul McClendon on the return. Smacked hard at the 21-yard line. Unloading was Antoine Cook after a 7-yard return of a 34-yard Kevin Miller kick. And so now we will see Cliff Kingsbury, the Texas Tech offense. Sophomore out of New Braunfels, led the nation in completions. 362 on the year. Ricky Williams, not the same as he was before a severe knee injury last year, but he is back with Shad Williams, Darrell Jones, Derek Doris, and Tim Baker, the Big 12's leading receiver with 69 catches for the year. And on first down to give for very little to Foy Munlin, a true freshman out of Dallas. The offensive line for Texas Tech: Erickson, Sanders, Cecil, Hyder, Richards. Defensive front, East Carolina. The 3-4, Clay Brooks, Amadou, and Williams.
Amadou will need to be a good spy man in the middle for the shovel passes. Number 52, the nose guard.
Out of the gun with no huddle, as is their custom. Kingsbury sacked by Bernard Williams. The ball is loose and recovered by Texas Tech, but inside the 10 is where Ricky Williams desperately jumps on. The 4 linebackers for the Pirates: Williamson, Lefevre, Griffin, probably the best of the bunch, and Yelverton. And the secondary: Hardy, Adams, and Adams. They are identical twins in Robinson. Antoine is the free safety, Anthony the strong safety. Only wait and tell them apart. Thank goodness they wear jersey numbers. It's 3rd and 21 for Kingsbury. And he's well protected, but it's batted around and caught by Derek Doris. Off the rebound from Cole Roberts. It's shades of Nebraska, Missouri 3 years ago, and a gain of 13.
Man, you got a good memory.
Boy, that was really good. It bounced off his feet.
Now, this is tough to coach. How do you coach this, Mike?
I don't think you do. He just trips there and watch the ball hit him right in the feet. Then off the chest of Lefevre. Look at that. That's concentration. And what it does, it gives Texas Tech a little bit of room to punt the ball for field position.
Surprised of all was Greg Lefevre. He had a shot at the interception, so Greathouse will have to kick. And we'll get a chance to see Keith Stokes show his punt returning abilities, and they are considerable. But straight up the field. Nobody's touched him yet. Inside the 20. Stokes brings it back for a touchdown. 70 yards.
I'll tell you what, when you get a punt returner or a kick return where he's not touched, you give a lot of credit to the people that are blocking because they're getting some people out of the way. Stokes was not touched. All he had to do was change direction a couple of times, and he was in.
His second touchdown return of the year and his longest return of the year. First extra point was blocked because it was low. Miller drives this one through, and it's 13-0. Keith Stokes, for the second time this year, brings one back all the way. And what a start by the Pirates here in Houston. Pretty obvious that East Carolina stung all year from that bowl loss in Mobile to TCU last year because they have started tremendous fashion with a 70-yard return by Stokes, making it 13-0, not yet halfway through the first quarter. McClendon again on the return for Tech, and he brings this one back 17. Usually on a punt return touchdown, you got to break a tackle somewhere along the way.
But he got great blocks right here. Look at the two blocks by Grover Benton and by Wes Herlocker, and then again on down right here by number 34, Bernard Williams. Those are the blocks that broke them free. Again, good blocking is going to get you to the end zone when you are untouched like that. Great special teams work.
So the Raiders down 2 scores. The second time they get it, they start from their 21. Kingsbury pressured hard on the first possession, throws it deep on the second one, and has it picked off by Kelly Hardy. With a marker down after the interception by Hardy, who scored the first and last touchdowns of the regular season. He had a 60-yard interception return the opener against Duke, a 34-yard fumble return in the finale against Southern Miss. And a good start to the postseason for Hardy, sophomore out of Kinston, North Carolina. It will be for the celebration following Hardy's pick.
After the interception, we have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct. Player spiked the ball after the interception. 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
The crowd doesn't like the fact that Hardy spiked the ball, and I assure you that Kingsbury doesn't like the fact that he underthrew his receiver. Hardy's trying to run with him. You see him at the top of the screen. He's in good shape here. If the ball's thrown out and farther away, at least the receiver has a shot at it. In this case, Hardy just comes back, makes the easy catch. No chance for the wide receiver to break it up.
With the mark off, they start at their 26. And they run a double reverse, bobbled, but Marcellus Harris now gets a block by Garrard and fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. John Norman and Devin Lemons finally run him down.
Well, they're just opening up the playbook now at East Carolina, and what that does is, again, you have an aggressive defense that keeps them on their heels. Texas Tech does not know what they're going to do. They're having good success running. They're having good success passing. And the strength of this Texas Tech defense is their linebackers. And if they're guessing on the plays, advantage East Carolina.
Lawrence Flugent's right there, 4th in the country, 1st in the Big 12 in tackles during the season. Average 13 a game. Neutralized so far tonight. 2nd and 10. Little swing pass Stokes. It's another block, sprung forward to the 34. And run down there by McClendon. Let's set it down to Michelle.
Well, you guys mentioned that Steve Logan is pulling out all the stops. That started right after the regular season. It had just snowed in Greenville, but 2 lanes of the running track were cleared, and Logan had his players out there running. They had to run 8 300s with just 45 seconds in between. Now, for perspective, their summer test only requires 6 300s. The message was sent early. Logan wants to win this game.
Message received loud and clear. 3rd and 2, keeper Garrard keeping all the way. First down to the 38. David Garrard leading an offense that was 2nd in the conference on the ground, 4th through the air, 2nd in scoring, and the only team in the conference with 150+ rushing yards and 200+ passing yards per game. Their 3rd highest scoring team in school history. And a proud tradition over the last 10 years, begun by Jeff Blake and continued by Marcus Crandall. Garrard, arguably the best of the bunch at this stage. And again, they run Derek Helms, a defensive lineman, who fumbles it, and the Raiders recover it. So the fringe factor backfires, and Dorian Pitts comes away with it for Texas Tech. He ran it down near the goal line and picked up a first down on their first scoring drive. This time, it doesn't work.
He's doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, he's just supposed to keep the pile moving forward, keep driving. He keeps driving his legs, but he's got them big lineman paws. He just can't hold on to the ball. I mean, there's 6 guys on him. They're all trying to rip the ball out of there.
You can't let a defensive lineman have a ball in his hand. Logan's smarter than that. How did I know you were going to say that?
Raiders from the 45 give it to Tim Baker for the first time, and the Big 12's leading receiver carries it for about 5. He's as close as they have to a tight end, but at 6'5", 202, that's not really the job description you give him.
He plays a kind of a hybrid, and he really enjoys it. He's very articulate talking about the fact that he appreciates this offense, and there was a spot for him.
Admits that he is all about finesse and not speed. Got to run his patterns precisely. Throwing under duress. This one intended for Darrell Jones and incomplete. The Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN2 tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern with the Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl from Boise, Idaho, where Boise State will host UTEP, surprising second-place finisher in the WAC behind quarterback Rocky Perez's 26 touchdown passes. Boise State's Bart Hendricks led the nation in passing, and that's tomorrow evening, 8:30 Eastern from Boise. On 3rd and 6, Kingsbury fires it over doors, tipped up and almost intercepted for the 2nd time by Kelly Harden.
Well, I tell you, Bill, I know it's early in the game. You're down 13-zip. I go for it here. 4th and 6. You're on, what, 42 of East Carolina? I think I go for it here.
Well, he is of the Hal Mumme school, and I would expect that he would go for it. But his team is back on its heels, offensively and defensively. His quarterback is rattled. His defense is not playing with assurance. And they really need a spark right here.
Don't get cute. You know, they need 6-yard, 7-yard route. Get the first down.
Picked up almost half their 4th down tries during the season. And they set up a screen, which is read to perfection. Shawn Williams had no chance.
And Mike, they got cute. Just exactly what, that was not one of their base plays.
Right.
And you called it. Did not need a cute. You need some sort of hook or curl that gets you 8 yards and get the first down.
Ty Hunt making the play.
I think Coach Leach would like to have that call back.
I also think Shawn Williams should have cut this one up a little sooner than he did. He almost started going backwards, Coach.
But you see that everybody's sitting back in the zone here. Everybody. There was a 2-man rush, and even the rushers came off, and that's why there was nothing there. There was an umbrella, very cleverly designed by Tim Rose, that resulted in stopping them short of the first down, well short.
And so East Carolina takes it over right where Helms fumbled it away to Dorian Pitts at the 45. Garrard with all day to hang one of these gorgeous deep passes up for grabs. And it's caught by Harris at the 1. 54 yards. He took it away from Paul McClendon in a one-on-one mid-air battle.
did McClendon not get the ball? I mean, we talked about Garrard hanging the ball up. He hung it up very high that time, and McClendon was right there, Bill.
This is another Doug Martinism. He throws this ball as if he were dropping it down a chimney. This is actually an underthrow. He sees Marcellus Harris running deep. He really underthrows the ball. Had he thrown it a little farther, it would have been a touchdown.
First and goal instead from the 1. With 2 tight ends. Leonard Henry, touchdown. Touchdown number 3 for East Carolina. We still have 4:37 to go in the first quarter.
Steve Logan signaling for 1. A lot of people think you should go for 2 in a situation like this to get the score back to a normal football score of 21. Not so. The odds say you got a better chance of scoring 2 points by kicking twice than by going for 2 twice.
Well, the way they've been scoring, they'll be down there. Seems like they'll be down there ready to kick again.
Miller, now 2 out of 3. Leonard Henry, second team All-Conference USA. Their leading rusher, 8 touchdowns during the season. David Garrard takes 2 plays to move him 55 yards and put him up 20-0. ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2000 Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl is presented by GallaryFurniture.com, the finest, fastest, most affordable store in the world. And in part by Red Lobster. You love seafood, we love seafood. Let's meet at our place tonight and go overboard. Red Lobster, go overboard. And a look at the Wortham Fountain in the Theater District of downtown Houston. And a look at Leonard Henry, who bounced back from a very disappointing 1999 sophomore season. And has East Carolina up 20 to nothing. Nothing has gone right for Texas Tech. McClendon was just out-wrestled by Harris for that deep ball at the 1. He's run out of bounds at the 26. A 24-yard return. Kingsbury will set up from there.
Well, we talked about how impressive this Texas Tech's offense is with Kingsbury at the helm, but also on the other side of that, it's also very one-dimensional. And as we know, when you stop one dimension of a one-dimensional team, as East Carolina is doing now, you get just 3 yards of total offense.
That was pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You know, Kingsbury, given time, will get into a rhythm and get something established. But time has been the problem for him. So they swing this one for Carlos Francis, and probably the best play so far run by the Tech offense. It's good for 16 yards up to the 41. The fastest Red Raider, Francis, redshirt freshman out of Fort Worth, who's run a 10-2 100 meters.
Bill, bread and butter right now, right?
That's a running play. That's a running
bread
play.
And butter, right?
That's a jailbreak screen, and it's a basic play in their offense. They know how to execute it.
Try to get every snap within 20 seconds of the previous play. Going with no huddle, getting signals from the sideline. Kingsbury has to run for his life again, and he's sacked for a loss of a couple. With the first contact coming from Domain Duckett.
This offense is totally discombobulated. That time, nobody looked for the football. The reason Kingsbury pulled it down is because none of his men understood the play. He looked out there, realized he was on his own, and took a loss.
Big step forward, small step back. 2nd and 11. The 3-man rush. There's time to step up and fire a bullet, which is caught near midfield, where it'll be 3rd and short. Darryl Jones on the catch.
Yeah, even that kind of play is like a base run. A nice curl with a ball that's drilled into the open seam in the zone. That's the bread and butter stuff, Mike, that you've been talking about executing.
3 wideouts all to the near side. Ricky Williams will take it to the right side. And just enough quicks to apparently pick up the first down. That much more like the Ricky Williams before his knee injury in the opener of the '99 season, which ended his '99.
And that was a good check by Kingsbury, knowing that Williams had the speed to get the corner. He called the play at the line, then changed it. Saw East Carolina shifted over to three-man receiver side, changed it to that running play, knowing Williams could get the corner. Good change of play at the line by Kingsbury, and great speed for the corner by Ricky.
2 years ago, fourth best runner in the country. They were talking about the fact that he may be the best Ricky Williams in the state of Texas. One game in Austin, he outrushed the other Ricky Williams in a big Tech upset win. He had over 1,500 yards, 144 yards per game 2 years ago. That was pre-injury, and he says his battle this year has been trusting the repair job on the knee, which is not uncommon for people coming off knee surgeries. They know in their head that it's okay, but the knee itself has got to convince them.
It's more mental than physical. They know it. It's been told it's 100%, but mentally they're not sure it's there.
They snap it and fire it into the field. Just inside the 49. And an oddity, 2 straight running plays. Williams, who was a leading runner, just 421 yards on the year, tackled by Greg Lefevre.
Guys on the Texas Tech defense love Lefevre. They call him Saturday Night Lefevre. He's a lot of fun on the field. He keeps everybody up, and he smashes opposing backs.
And I nominate that for college football nickname of the year. Kingsbury again sacked, and a huge loss here, back to his 43. Bernard Williams.
Well, they've given up 30 sacks coming into this game, already a couple this game. This is a coverage check. Good coverage down the field. Kingsbury just hanging in the pocket, waiting for somebody to break open. It doesn't happen, and Kingsbury's had some pressure on him tonight already.
Yeah, with a two-man rush. I mean, this is inexcusable.
Coming from the outside, right?
2 guys from the outside run slap over the tackles. Bernard Williams in particular, a great job.
3rd sack here in the first quarter. So on 3rd and 16, deep middle and dropped. And that would have been enough for the first had Wes Welker held on. Good pattern, good pass, and he's kicking himself.
Yeah, he's got to be. You know what? You're down 20-zip. You've got to be able to find a way to make the play. Kingsbury put it there a little low, but certainly a catchable ball. Welker knows it, too.
Welker out of Oklahoma, not heavily recruited at all. Invited walk-on to OU's favorite program. And Tulsa and Tech, really the only teams that were offering him full rides. So he is, in his own words, black and red for life now. No more an OU fan. Greathouse to kick it. And well aimed.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I think I would have done that.
Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN tomorrow. 4 Eastern, it's the Music City Bowl in Nashville. Ole Miss, West Virginia, and Don Nehlen's final game for the Mountaineers. At 7:30, the Inside.com Bowl from the Bob in Phoenix, Bank One Ballpark. Pittsburgh, Iowa State. Panthers led by the top receiver in the country, with the Litnikov Award winner, Antonio Bryant. Iowa State wraps up its best season in 22 years. ESPN Capital One Bowl Week doubleheader tomorrow. After a 40-yard punt by Greathouse. 4 field position, first time for Garrard. Final minute 7 of the quarter from the 15. Crawling forward. For a gain of 2 is Art Brown, true freshman out of Winston-Salem.
Well, we've seen Texas Tech step it up a little bit on defense. They're going to have to take the brunt on their shoulders right now. Their offense is struggling, so the defense has got to try and get a 3 and out and give them all the opportunities they can get on offense.
Now, Greg McMackin coaches a defense that 2 years ago, when he coordinated the Seattle Seahawks, set an NFL record returning 14 touchdowns, fumbles to interceptions. So his defense may be really looking for the strip and the big play on their end, since it's not happening on offense. Torey Morris takes the hitch all the way to the 30, and that's enough for an East Carolina first down and a gain of 14. They moved the chain, stopped the clock, 16 seconds of the quarter.
McMackin's defense led the nation in shutouts this year with 3 and had another game against North Texas in which North Texas only scored on a defensive touchdown themselves. He can't be pleased with what's happening to his people over there on his side of the ball tonight.
Terrific resume. Last 3 jobs, University of Miami. They led the nation. The Seahawks with that record in Hawaii. Best turnaround in college football history. Winless to 9 wins last year. That's the end of the first quarter. All East Carolina. Striking with the big plays to lead 20-0 in the first Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl.
They shit in the back. When you call it.
1-800-COLLECT presents Ava Save-A-Lot.
About Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
Back in Houston, East Carolina leading 20-0, and just a few minutes ago, John Norman, the senior linebacker for Texas Tech, took over the huddle on the sidelines. He got in the faces of his defensive teammates and said, we have to execute every play. From one play to the next, there can be no arguing about who might have made a mistake. Just go to the next play. Dave, will see how they respond.
Yeah, John, who will finish this game and then turn his attention to his brother Josh's Oklahoma date in the Orange Bowl for the National Championship. His brother, the Sooners' top running backs. We begin the second quarter with a run up the middle and a fake, very well carried out. Rashawn Burns, the tight end, rambles for 15 yards. And he had about half the defense following Garrard, thinking that was a quarterback option keeper. In the first quarter, here's how dominant East Carolina was. 7-2 first downs, -16 on the ground because of 3 sacks of Kingsbury. 22 total yards. They're outgained by 130.
They averaged 362 a game. 22, if my math is correct, would be 88 for the game. How's that?
Need to pick up the pace.
They got to pick up good term, Dave. You're right. That's what they got to do.
And the Friars marching again to their 44. Garrard play action. The deep out, not quite deep enough, and incomplete, intended for DeLeo Dodd.
Can you do long division, Mike?
If I got a calculator or an abacus or something like that. Pencil and paper.
You wouldn't know an abacus if it hit you in the mouth.
Certainly couldn't spell it, that's for sure. You know, I want to go back to what Michelle said about John Norman taking over the huddle. You need a guy like that. Every team, Bill, don't you agree, needs a guy like that to take charge of a huddle and shake some things up.
And you could tell in the meeting we had with him last night, he was going to be that guy. They'll make a run. You can count on that.
Last game, this is it for him. A short toss, maybe a backwards pass to Stokes. And he's got another first down to the 44 of Tech. A gain of 11. Here's Stokes against the Tech defense that, no matter what they look like tonight, ran up some really impressive individual seasons.
That is amazing. Influence is 4th in the country, but to have that many ranked in the top of the Big 12, a conference like the Big 12 is impressive. Now, certainly they're struggling tonight, no doubt about that, but that is a fantastic season stat. Garrard able to hang another one deep. Finds single coverage, drops it down the chimney, caught, touchdown.
Derek Collier, 44 yards. The Pirates score again.
That absolutely amazes me, Dave, how he throws it so high, and the coverage was right there, and it just drops down like Santa coming down the chimney.
This is beautiful because he's under pressure and makes a perfect throw.
Miller out for another extra point. That his first one blocked and has been perfect thereafter. 27-0 East Carolina.
Footwork is everything. A token fake, set the feet, nice step forward, ignore the pressure, follow through. This time not an underthrow, but a perfect throw.
Now this is amazing. Good coverage by Briggs. Now he's looking at the head. He's not looking back. He sees the head up. There's the mistake. If you see the head and the hand's going for the ball, you've got to try and make a play on it. He kept looking at the receiver and started losing a little bit of distance.
One of the most impressive things is how he has spread it around to guys who didn't do much during the season. He's gone to Collier here at only 7 catches all year, 1 for a touchdown. He's hit Corey Floyd, who had only 4 catches all year. So it's not just the favorite targets that are benefiting this terrific start from David Garrard.
He throws to everybody. He was recruited by University of Central Florida and told that he could be the next Dante Culpepper. I believe it. I really do. Dante's doing rather well himself, but it looks like David not only is an excellent college quarterback, but has a future for himself.
You know what impressed me with that, though, is on the replay you saw Aaron Hunt from Texas Tech hitting him just as he was throwing it. I mean, that ball went a long way for not him being able to get everything into it on the throw. What a strong arm.
A strong start. 9 out of 12, 151 yards. And a touchdown in a little less than 16 minutes. Yet another kickoff. Sean Williams on this return. Raiders could benefit from the big return. They get an okay return out to the 24. Capital One Bowl week continues. Join us on Friday, an all-day bowl-a-rama on ESPN. Our coverage begins at 1:30. The 2 conference champions do battle. Number 22 Colorado State, number 23 Louisville in the Liberty Bowl. Then the Chick-fil-A Peach matchup, number 17 Georgia Tech at LSU. Last stop San Diego, number 12 Texas against 11th ranked Oregon in the Culligan Holiday Bowl at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. And if you're done with all 3 of those, there's yet more coming. The Outback Bowl on New Year's Day. And the Alamo on the 30th. Miles to go before we sleep. Swing pass, inside run now Wes Welker. Cup of only a couple.
Well, I guess if you're going to look at the glass half full for Texas Tech, be happy they're not a running team, because they would almost have to abandon the game plan right now. They are a passing team, so they can still stay within their game plan to try and chip away.
So far, settling for a lot of 2- and 3-yard gains. Shovel pass. One of the favorite plays in their arsenal. Sean Williams. East Carolina well coached to look for that.
Well coached to sit back, play the zones, be soft up front, pressure with 2, spy with the middle guard, and tackle everybody before they make first downs. And it's working.
Got to at least look for a first down here on 3rd and 4. They swing for Sean Williams. And in a race to try to get to the 33, he is not going to make it. Kelly Hardy beat him to the sideline. This should not even be close enough for a measurement, I wouldn't think. They've got him marked right at the 31. And you would expect.
He's going to go for it.
You would expect.
He needs to punt this football.
Quentin Greathouse is nowhere near the playing field.
He needs to punt this football and see if he can retrieve that Brook Trout stare out of his player's eyes.
Under center for the first time. And they tried unsuccessfully to draw the Pirates offside. Couldn't do it, call timeout. Now they'll kick with 12:16 to go in the 2nd quarter. The Raiders being routed. Well, Kingsbury unsuccessfully tried to draw East Carolina offsides. Now we see Clinton Greathouse on 4th and 1. And Stokes already with a 70-yard touchdown return on his night's ledger. Last time Greathouse angled it away from him. Not this time. Returnable from 25, and here he goes again. Met by a couple of black jerseys at the 36. A 42-yard kick and return, this time of just 10.
East Carolina had one special teams faux pas early with a blocked extra point and immediately made up for it with the onside kick. Came right back with the 70-yard punt return by the darting speedster Stokes, who's just a great player, and every time he touches the ball, Mike, I get excited.
Can't get your snacks when these guys are on special teams. Got to stay watching the shoot.
Garrard back to it. Leonard Henry swinging it wide. One of the better defended plays, and yet he still picks up about 4 yards.
Dave, I mean, you couldn't have said it any perfectly. I mean, if you just look at the way this game is going right now, Texas Tech is struggling for every yard they're getting. East Carolina, and you just said it, that was one of the better defense plays by Texas Tech, and they still get 4.5 yards out of it. That's the way this game is going so far.
Boy, that leads to fatigue and frustration on the defensive side, doesn't it, Mike?
Oh, incredible. I mean, you almost overcompensate and try and attack too much, and then you get burned with a big play.
Arnie Powell went in motion. Garrard loops that one dangerously, and it is intercepted by Norman, who had 3 during the season. Big play defender, senior, Midland, Texas. John Norman makes the biggest play yet for Texas Tech.
This is confidence that you can still make the throw for Garrard. He knew he had to go over the top on the screen. They're up 27-zip. He feels, I'll take the chance. I'll try and get it there. Puts a little too much on it. What a great play by Norman. Just a little too much mustard on that screen pass.
Yeah, and you can credit Devin Lemons, number 37, with putting the pressure on and forcing the lofted throw. Very poor throw. One of the few poor things that Garrard's done in this game. And the main man, the leader over there, has taken advantage of him.
Well, we're not supposed to come down the chimney.
That's exactly right.
Now, can the Raiders cash it in from the 41? They run Ricky Williams. Or about 4, Vontae Leach, freshman inside linebacker out of Rowland, North Carolina, on the tackle of Williams, who has been granted an extra year.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's decided to take it, too. There's a lot of thought earlier that he might want to graduate with his original freshman class and call it a career after this year, but last month announced he will come back in 2001. Completely different job description than under Spike Dykes. That's got to be caught, and by the usually reliable King Scoble, it's through his hands and complete.
Well, we've seen a couple drops now tonight. I mean, this is a big drive for Texas Tech. They've got to be able to cash in on the turnover. When you're down by this, your defense puts you in a pretty good position. You've got to get something out of this. I guarantee you they'll go for it on 4th down if they're in the situation here.
They wouldn't be faking it this time. Only 1 out of 5 picking up 3rd down. Lots of time. Finally, Kingsbury on target. And the drive does continue as Derek Doris, their second leading receiver. 56 catches, beats Kelly Hardy's coverage.
One thing, Bill, I don't think you're going to see a lot from the Texas Tech receivers. They're big guys. You're not going to see a lot of yards after the catch. They make the catch, secure the ball, and then a lot of times, that you saw there, they get brought down.
That's right, but especially because of the style of defense that East Carolina's playing, because they've got a web out there, and the web converges. It's like an amoeba, and it closes on the ball with several tacklers every time. Yeah.
Kingsbury again forced to run for his life. And another sack and a loss of 5. Let's send it down below to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Dave, Cliff Kingsbury still trying to erase demons of his senior year in high school in this very building. He played his final high school game here, suffered a 46-23 loss in the state 5A semifinals. He told us he'd love to shake those demons. Coming back into this building reminded him of that game all over again.
Played for his father, New Braunfels High School, who attended a Hal Mummy clinic and changed their offense to the Leach style for his senior year. Before that point, he was not looked at as someone who would be highly recruited, but given the chance to throw it his senior year, he caught the attention of Leach. It was pretty much Texas Tech, Southwest Texas State, and Kingsbury went west to Lubbock.
When all those black shirts look like they're covered in that secondary or converged upon quickly, that's because that's what's happening. This is a very well-coached defensive plan. Closing on the ball, Coach Tim Rose, everything working that he installed for this week so far.
Pirates come with a blitz, picked up. Throw is behind and open Carlos Francis at the 15.
Picked their spot, came with a blitz, played man-free coverage. The receiver was able to beat the coverage, and Kingsbury could not deliver. There has just been too much pressure on him tonight. He is not himself. Carlos Francis open again. He was open on the deep ball earlier.
We've seen receivers dropping the ball. Now we see the quarterback not as accurate with his throw.
And we see Chris BIRKHOLZ, 66% during his career. This will be one of the longest of his career if he's good, from 50. Out of the holding, Eric Rosales. This one will not make it. Close, not quite enough. Still 27-0, East Carolina, 10:06 in the second quarter. Where Tim Rose's East Carolina defense has done a job on Texas Tech.
I'll say, but you won't see him blitzing again anytime real soon, because he tried one, the guy was running wide open. Tim wasn't pleased with that, I assure you.
From the 32, Leonard Henry. Looks like he's stopped after a gain of about 2, and he puts his helmet down and keeps the legs churning forward. Next thing you know, it's a pickup of about 7, and that is pretty much how this first half has gone for East Carolina.
It's the Christmas season. It's a season of giving, and East Carolina is giving it to Texas Tech right now any way they want. They're just controlling everything.
I think the key has been the defensive plan. It's absolutely confused the offensive unit of Texas Tech at every step.
And offense, that's it with big play after big play. Garrard's option pitch. Henry's got plenty of room for another first down. They just keep grinding it out.
You only have one guy. I mean, you play the option, you've got to play the quarterback and the pitch man. On the touchdown run by Garrard, they had one man on the pitch man, nobody on the quarterback. This time, they have one man on the quarterback, you see right there, and nobody on the pitch man. Somebody's got to roll up. They've got to roll up, and you've got to cover your man when the option is coming. First, you have to recognize it. Then you have to take care of your responsibility.
Texas Tech defense, 4th best in the conference during the year. They had surrendered 320 by halftime tonight. And they have got to be tuckered out, too. On the field a long time. Garrard steps back, fires, intercepted. The second pick for Texas Tech. Mark Washington, the senior free safety.
Well, that one, Garrard will never be, I mean, he certainly didn't look anybody off there. He went for they faked the hitch, and he looked at his receiver the whole time, and Washington did a great job of knowing that. See Washington just locking in on him, and you see him locking the whole way. And he comes right over. He saw the hitch, faked the hitch, and he just started drifting toward that receiver. Garrard never looked him off. Washington just kept going with it.
Right in front of Collier. The senior out of Sweeney, Texas, who had 2 picks during the season, turns it back over to Kingsbury at the 27. Swing pass, boy, are they ready for that? Shawn Williams reverses field and loses even more yardage. Let's check in quickly with Chris Fowler on how the return to the ice is going for Mario Lemieux.
It's going very well, Dave. In Pittsburgh, Lemieux earlier had assisted on a goal by Jaromir Jagr. Here, Jagr returns the favor. Lemieux, a one-timer. Lemieux has 2 assists, and that goal is first game since April '97. SportsCenter has coverage of it tonight. Dave?
Like he never left.
Makes me want to make a comeback.
Let me talk to you about that after the game. Meet me in the parking lot.
Kingsbury had time, just can't find anybody open, so he throws on the run, incomplete. Dean Stovall was the target. Even when he has time, Rose's coverage package does the job.
This is not a contribution to anybody that understands anything about football, but everything that can go wrong is going wrong for Texas Tech's offense. And the reason is They don't have answers for this defensive plan. It really is like a spider's web, and it closes wherever the ball goes. Nobody was open.
Who gets to call the 3rd and 20 play, Bill?
You can't find anybody to help you if you're the head coach.
How about a quarterback draw?
Good call.
About as well as anything, and so they'll have to get Greathouse out there. And in our never-ending quest to be at the cutting edge, technically, what we're going to show now is reflective of the net punting average for Greathouse and Texas Tech. That red line indicative of where the average takeover spot would be for East Carolina if this is the average net punt. You see the yellow line, that's what they need for the first down. The red line right at the 49 would reflect Texas Tech's net punting average distance. This is a pretty good one. Stokes with flags down, loses it, picked up. And the Pirates hang on to it thanks to Brandon Rayner. But they've got a lot to unpile now. 44-yard pick.
Bill, it's going to be that halo rule, isn't it, Bill? I mean, he didn't give enough room to catch the ball.
I think so, but that was 15 yards better than his normal net punting average. But let's see what happens on the call, because that'll obviously have an impact.
Yeah, he was hit almost as soon as he caught the ball.
Bill Lamonier and his Big Ten crew agreeing.
So here's what I mean by that. They'll get a 5-yard penalty here because there was interference with the returner, which means that this is 10 yards better than the normal net punt average for Texas Tech. And net punting is one of the most important statistics in football because it establishes
interference with the opportunity. 2-yard radius foul. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Interference with the opportunity. I like that.
Interference with the opportunity to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Good call.
Makes it sound un-American. 6:57 to go in the half.
It is.
Steve Logan up 27. ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2000 Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl is brought to you by Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money, get well connected. And by your local Lincoln dealer. Lincoln, American luxury. First postseason game in the city of Houston and in the Astrodome in 13 years since the 1987 Bluebonnet Bowl, the last in that series. Tonight the first in the new series. Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl, East Carolina all the way. They again run the big tight end right up the middle. Second time that Rashawn Burns has had a chance to carry it.
Boy, they are just anything they run is working.
Yeah, Rashawn.
Look at that first down right there. I mean, that says it all.
Rashawn hanging on to that football after that other big guy dropped one. That defensive guy.
Second and negative .7.
You can't defend that.
Call play for that.
Just shy of midfield. Garrard again. Burns gets the call, this time with a catch and another first down inside the 40 of Texas Tech. Let's send it down to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Dave, and you guys were talking about the defense. Greg McMackin came to Texas Tech, wanted the defense to have a personality. I asked Lawrence Flugents about that yesterday, and he began to recite. And then John Norman joined in. They said in unison, we are an attacking, aggressive, swarming defense that gang tackles, makes big plays, and plays with emotion. They have repeated that mantra hundreds of times. It distinguishes their characteristic. Have they lost it today, Mike?
Well, I tell you what, they not lost it. East Carolina's beating it out of them right now.
Driving again with option toss. Down to the 25-yard line goes Christian Gilliam. This is an equal opportunity offense tonight because Gilliam is normally a linebacker. They're letting him carry the ball.
Kevin
defensive
Curtis.
lineman Derek Helms carry the ball. Everybody gets a shot.
Everybody's getting to do everything here. But, Mike, you talked about option responsibility. Kevin Curtis, number 31, the strong safety, had pitch responsibility here, but he's got an excellent blocker right in his face. Look right there. Excellent job of blocking downfield by Terrence Copper. True freshman.
Well, from the 25, they march on. Burns, a little bit too tall for him.
Yeah, and going back to what Michelle said about their defense and the attitude they want to have, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I mean, you can only say it so many times. You have to go out and do it. And they've done it a lot. There's no doubt about that. But one thing East Carolina is doing is, by the play selection, by being successful with different people and different plays, they're keeping, again, that defense on their heels. So it's a little more difficult to swarm when sometimes you're guessing on what the play is going to be, or your reaction time is a little slower.
Quick option toss. Williams carried it one time during the regular season. His second on this drive alone, and he runs into Devin Leonard. Texas Tech, a proud defense. They hit their rock bottom period, a 56-3 loss, record margin of defeat to Nebraska. And from that point on, they felt like they made a much better accounting of themselves. And they were fourth ranked in the Big 12. Yardage surrendered per game, but tonight all positive stats pretty much forgotten as East Carolina has thrown over them and run through them. And they make a stand on 3rd and 4. Another carry with a flag down this time. In fact, 3 flags at the end of the run by Henry. And a very well carried out fake by Garrard.
Somebody grabbed somebody's face mask. I don't know if it was the running back or the defender. There's all kind of face mask grabbing going on there. You ever see offsetting face masks? I wonder if you can get it here.
Whatever can go wrong does.
5-yard face mask. Defense. Penalty results in a first down.
Flags came in from everywhere. They don't like when you touch the face mask. But a lot of times you'll see a stiff arm of an offensive player that gets up in the face of a defender as well.
But this was a defensive player, Mike. It was Mark Washington, number 8. He really just put his hand up there for an instant. I'm not sure he should have been called, but he was.
From the 6, 1st and goal. And Henry dragged his tackler all the way to the 2. Mark Washington had him at the 5. And 4 yards later, Henry's finally down.
There's no swarm. I mean the mantra that Michelle told us, there's no swarm here. They're there, but they're not there, Bill. They're in the area, but they're not there making the play.
They're not putting their head across to the off armpit and driving through them the way Coach McMackin taught them. Quick play here.
Nearly 300 yards already. Garrard intended for Stokes. That might be fortunate, actually, that it was incomplete because Antoine Alexander had him pretty well covered.
Yeah, Antoine decided, I think I'm going to go ahead and hit this guy anyhow. And nobody's hit him all night. He just needs to take at least 1 shot.
Boy, any kind of a small victory here for Texas Tech. Hold them to a field goal. Don't let them get in the end zone somehow, some way. Hey, we keep talking about what they're not doing. We certainly have to give equal time to what East Carolina is doing on offense. Incredible execution.
2 tight ends. And a give for a walk-in Leonard Henry touchdown, his 2nd. Well, Texas Tech thought they'd put that Nebraska performance behind them, but right now it's the East Carolina Cornhuskers in effect.
This is turning into a woodshed game, fellas. Texas Tech getting dragged out behind it and just beaten up right now. I mean, they're being out executed and out hit every single facet of the game.
With 3 turnovers, Pirates have run up 34 points. Still almost 4.5 to go in the first half. Henry has a pair of 1-yard touchdown runs.
This is Lance.
Latest touchdown. 1-yard run by Leonard Henry, and Raider Red even more downcast than usual.
Well, I would say he should have some Band-Aids on his face for the way.
That's Yosemite Sam.
Guys are getting beat up. Those eyes look crossed there, kind of like the players, unfortunately.
That's not Yosemite Sam?
That's his cousin, Raider Red. Oh. Quite often mistaken. Wes Welker decides to accept the touchback. Since that first PAT was blocked, Miller's done a terrific job.
Credit to the O-line for this fine offensive performance thus far for East Carolina, particularly the left guard right here. Walker pulls out, blocks Curtis, the leading tackler. Now watch as Henry goes into the end zone. Derek Briggs, number 39, has a chance to step up and make the play and simply does not. He remains in the end zone, and Henry joins him there.
Ricky Williams with a huge hole through the middle. The best run of the night for Texas Tech, 22 yards. And let's send it for a halftime preview to Chris Fowler.
Well, Dave, coming up at halftime, we'll have highlights of Marshall's come-from-behind win in the Motor City Bowl. Features news on the coaching carousel, how that might affect the preparations for Florida State with the Orange Bowl. And Mack Brown makes it official, naming him starter for the Holiday Bowl. Rod Gilmore joins me at the half, Dave.
Well, again, in question for Texas because Major Applewhite's been working out, bad knee and all. There's some question. Would it be Sims or Applewhite? Foy Munlin blasted by Kent Neely, redshirt freshman out of Clarendon, North Carolina.
Chris Fowler didn't mention anything about any Texas Tech highlights at halftime. We're not going to.
There are none at this point.
All right.
A lot of East Carolina highlights.
You are ruthless, Michael.
Well, you know what? I guarantee you that in halftime, the coaches are going to be ruthless, too. There's going to be a gut check in the locker room for Texas Tech.
I think you may be right.
Time for a score and something to build on, maybe. Welker.
How about a first down?
It is a first down.
Baby steps, huh?
It's progress.
Kingsbury. Any pass that he gets off without being sacked is progress. 4 sacks for a loss of 31 yards and only 4 first downs.
For Mike Leach, this really is a teaching opportunity to teach his men how to respond in these situations.
He's checking out again.
A few times he takes it under center. The give straight ahead for Ricky Williams. Gain of 2. Capital One Bowl Week will continue on ESPN with the Sanford Independence Bowl Saturday at 8 Eastern from Shreveport, Mississippi State, and Wayne Madkin against Texas A&M. Jackie Sherrill present against the ghost of Sherrill past in the Independence. Lamar Toombs leading the Aggies. 14 touchdowns. That is Sunday, 8 Eastern from Shreveport. 2nd and 8. And again, Kingsbury has to scramble. This time manages the line of scrimmage and then coughed it up after the whistles had him down. So no fumbles, it'll be 3rd and 8.
Kingsbury not escaping very well. I mean, if you're going to escape, maybe he's got to learn to throw it away a little bit, come back and live another day, or try and escape to the outside if you can. Well, that's where East Carolina is bringing a lot of their pressure.
5.4 yards per completion. Not much to build on. He did 35. Averages nearly 300 yards passing per game. This is Darrell Jones. And to the 35, he has a first down.
I told you wouldn't see Tim Rose blitz again for a good while, and it's been a while. Every time he does it, they pick it up, and the receiver's wide open. This time, Kingsbury hits the receiver. Nice gain for a first down, so I'm going to say it again. I don't think you'll see Coach Rose coming after him very often.
Really haven't seen Tech offense hit a rhythm yet. They may be in one now. Another nice scanner over the middle to Jones. Darrell has it 1st and goal. At the 7, a gain of 28 yards, knocked out by Grover Benton.
Now, Bill, how much of this is East Carolina backing off a bit in their zones, coming back and giving the underneath stuff, or is it just Texas Tech getting in their rhythm?
It's Texas Tech executing. This is the same defense we've been seeing. This is a 3-deep zone, And it's a nice crossing pattern with a rhythm pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set throw on rhythm. Tough to rush, tough to defend.
More first downs on this series than they had the entire game before the series. First and goal, 7. They come after Kingsbury. He lets it go. Touchdown. Doris.
The difference is execution. The protection is good. The pass is thrown on rhythm. The route is run with precision, and it's a touchdown. That's what happened in this drive. So the young man Kingsbury has regained his composure, and his receivers are helping him out for a change.
And you see not a lot of celebration out of Kingsbury. He knows they have a long way to go and just about a half to get there. It's score and get right back to business.
You can build on a team that will fight back, and that's what this one is doing.
BIRKHOLZ 35 out of 36 on his PATs. That one just does up inside the left upright. 34-7. Kingsbury drives him 80 yards in 8 plays.
Something that he hasn't done a lot tonight. In part, he hasn't had a lot of time. He gets the ball, does KLIFF, makes his decision, and throws it. Doesn't hold it, doesn't slide in the pocket. This is when this offense works at its best.
Doris runs a skinny post, a little slant right inside the corner, who's expecting help coming inside out. The help can't get there quickly enough because the throw is so well executed.
Now, you can't stop here. Texas Tech, they have 2 timeouts to go. See what East Carolina is going to do with this ball. Are they going to try and run the clock out and go into halftime? Texas Tech, if they stop them on first, should use their first down to try and get the ball back and try and get something else before this half ends.
Well, Steve Logan, I can answer this. Steve Logan very seldom does what you expect him to do. He's a wizard. He's a college professor coaching football. That was his original intent, was to become a college professor. So that's how he does this. Whatever you think he's going to do, he usually does something else.
The only thing we all know he does is make people run.
Do you think Mike Leach would try an onside kick? There's a lot of hands guys
I think that would be a bad mistake.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't do it here, and I wouldn't give East Carolina that field position.
Kick the ball deep.
Yeah. That was ugly.
Fumble.
High and short
to Stokes. Boy, he's worth a ticket.
Ooh, what a play.
As he doubles back, he loses about half of what he had on the return as Jason Wesley runs him down. He'll net only 10 yards on the return. I guarantee he ran 70.
We've seen some poor special teams play by Texas Tech. Now we see some excellent play because Jason Wesley, number 30, has contained responsibility on just this exact kind of cutback. There he is. He gets a hold of the speedy Stokes and gets him on the ground. Nice job, Jason.
Stokes, maybe the biggest play of the half, a 70-yard punt return. The 29. The 26. Garrard with a draw play. And for Art Brown, gain of a couple.
Now, call it. Now, why aren't you using your timeout here? I do not agree with this at all. Stop the clock.
There are times, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate because I actually agree with you, Mike, but there are times when you just want to get your team back in the locker room. Something good has just happened. You don't want to give the other offense that's just been ripping you another opportunity to come back down the field because Steve Logan will throw this thing up in a heartbeat. I mean, way up.
Okay, it's 2 timeouts. Not using them here to snap at 45 seconds. And Brown spins after being hit behind the line and drags about 4 or 5 Red Raider defenders forward for 5. Such determination.
I mean, you've got the Texas Tech players looking to the sideline here, wondering why coach call a timeout. Bill, I completely disagree with this. Try and get the stop. Try and do something. You're down by a ton.
I agree with you, but I think what's happening is Coach Leach wants to get in the locker room and see if he can calm his troops down and don't give these guys a chance to get yet another one.
His offense had gained 36 yards until that 80-yard touchdown march in the closing minutes of the first half. So a little something maybe to build on after a disastrous first half And a 34-7 East Carolina lead in the Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl. Let's send it to Chris Fowler in the studio.
All right, Dave, thank you. Rod, a very little something to build on after falling behind 34-0. Clear difference in the effort and the aggression between these two teams in the first half.
Well, I think the difference in the first half was Steve Logan's approach to this game. He came out very aggressively, throwing some deep passes, an onside kick even. That shows you he was really into this ball game. On the other hand, I think Texas Tech fell apart. I don't think the effort was there in the second quarter, and they're going to have to find a way to get it back in that locker room at halftime.
That could be the big factor, but it's also a slightly ominous note for Big 12 fans because this is an Oklahoma team that hosted Texas Tech. It only scored 27 points, and that Tech defense not able to even slow down East Carolina in the first half. This is a woodshed beating thanks to David Garrard. 27-point lead for the Pirates at the break. Well, Texas Tech's going to have a ways to go to make this one a good ball game. East Carolina scoring almost at will. The second half from Houston is coming up.
Back at the Astrodome, 34-7. East Carolina leads Texas Tech as we get set for the start of the second half. The first Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl, total domination by the Pirates. Their offense did it however they wanted, going long, going short, running up the middle. Anything worked.
They did. The professorial Steve Logan, the head football coach at East Carolina, had his favorite pupil, David Garrard, execute his teaching to near perfection. The option on the goal line, easy touchdown because of an excellent read by Garrard. The deep ball while being hit, beautiful job by Collier to outstrip Derek Briggs, the cornerback, and make the deep catch. That encapsulates what Steve Logan tries to get done on offense, Mike.
And they were getting it done just as well on defense. They were Kingsbury in the pocket for Texas Tech just had absolutely no time to throw the ball. And that's what their offense is. It is timing. Too busy trying to sidestep rushes. 4 sacks for East Carolina in the first half. Bernard Williams had 2 of them. They had given up 30 coming into the season. But this offense for Texas Tech is predicated on 3-step, 5-step passing in rhythm. And East Carolina has not let them be in rhythm at all. That's been a key for that defense.
Now the halftime talks, a little bit different, I would think. It's a lot more fun to give the Logan, let's keep it going talk.
Logan, let's keep it going, but he really wants to keep the hammer down. I don't think they're just going to come out here and sit on it. Neither do I think Texas Tech is going to roll over. I think they'll come back and make a run. I really do.
Let's send it down below to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, funny you should mention what Steve Logan might have said in the locker room. I spent halftime in the locker room with East Carolina. Logan waited until just the last second, got his team around him, stood on a table above them, and said in a clear, loud, and emphatic voice, that is a proud program over there. You can expect them to raise their level of play. If you want to win this game, you must raise your level of play. The time to put this team away is now. While we're on top, let's go out there and put this team away, Dave.
So, as you suspected, not one to sit on the laurels of a 34-7 halftime lead. Steve Logan looking for more of the same.
I got to believe Mike Leach in the other locker room was looking for something to break. A chalkboard, a chair. It'd be interesting what that conversation was.
I'm telling you, that stuff's overrated about throwing things and yelling and screaming.
Even if you're really mad, Bill?
Especially when you got a team back on their heels. Yeah, especially when you're really mad. Then you say dumb things and your team goes in the tank more.
Then preceding the second half kickoff, Wes Welker. It's Miller's kick. Boy, the coverage for the flag down, again, very solid by ECU. Only 13 yards on the return by Welker.
I don't know, Bill, as we wait for the calls, it's a face mask. Is testing someone's manhood in the locker room at halftime, is it gone? I got to believe there's a place for it occasionally in a sport like this.
Inadvertent face mask on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's absolutely not gone. My opinion is that you use that with a confident team that's playing a crummy game. You get in their face and you kick them in the rear, but this team here is not confident. They haven't beaten anybody with a winning record this year. You don't pound them down until they've done something to earn being whipped on.
Games that gave them most of their confidence were well-played defeats to Kansas State, late in the year to Oklahoma. Ricky Williams sparked the 80-yard touchdown drive at the end of the first half, and he starts the second half of the game about 3. They're outgained 304 to 116, and 80 of the 116 total yards for Tech came on that late touchdown drive. East Carolina not hurt at all by 3 turnovers.
Well, you look at the yardage for Texas Tech, 17 rushing, 99 passing. That's about the 82-18 split you talked about at the top of the show, Dave, in pass and run, but I think they wanted a little more yards with that, though.
A lot more yards. We start this half with 2 straight runs for Williams. 2 years ago, the 4th leading rusher in the nation. And in this system, strictly a bit player when you're only running it 18% of the time.
That's right. And what happens when you run it that seldom is your offensive line gets a little soft in the running game. They don't really get down in the 3-point stance and come off with flat backs and get used to knocking people back off the ball. So it's tough to mount a sustained running attack.
His first 2 runs here in the third, net 8 yards on 3rd and 2. The toss should have the first down for Welker. And right at the 35.
And football traditionalists will say, good gosh, why do you throw the ball on 3rd and 2? Because that's your offense. You run your offense. If you're confident that you can throw and catch on 3rd and 2, then that's what you run. This time they executed. If they do this and go down the field right now, that'll bode very well for a good second half.
They hit a rhythm late in the first half. That's kind of a balloon-like pass, but look at Daryl Jones run with it. Breaks a tackle and takes it in right up for the official who signals touchdown. 65 yards. Wow. Right over Benny Fruna, the field judge.
What a great job. He got his hands up there to signal that touchdown. What a play. Boy, that was kind of a lob screen. We saw Garrard throw one of those for East Carolina, get it picked off. Kingsbury does the same thing. What a great job of running the ball.
It was exactly what Steve Logan did not want to happen. Just exactly what he feared.
So, all of a sudden, you got 14 unanswered Tech points. And you have something you didn't see on that sideline until late in the second quarter, smiles.
And what you don't see from the white shirts of East Carolina is that swarming, aggressive defense that you saw in the first half. Arm tackling, diving behind Jones, underestimating his speed and his strength. Look right here at the end of the play.
Yeah, the ref.
That's pitiful. That's pitiful. Yeah, but we're not. The ref.
Well, he just fell down. He didn't get run over to his credit, but watch him get his arms up. Look at that. That's a great job out of him right there. That's a tough referee right there. I'm sorry, Bill. You were making a great point. I apologize.
You're not sorry. You're enjoying seeing the ref getting drilled.
But he is
a tough guy. He did a heck of a job. Anthony Adams, Antoine it was, number 13, one of the twins. Should have had him on the ground about the 11 or 12-yard line. But he's been resting on his laurels as well. The halftime was too long for the guys in white. There's nothing that you can say to make them think this could be a tough game. And now they got a tough game. That's exactly what Tim's telling them.
Yep, Tim Rose over there certainly is going to jump on him a bit, saying this one is nowhere near over. That's what he's telling them.
Well, we've got Stokes back there. Quickly gets 7 the other way. And short kick, return from the 12. This time only 10 on the return.
And now what happens to the black shirts? Suddenly their special teams are doing a better job. Terrell's down there making a tackle on a guy they couldn't tackle a while ago. And the worm has turned if they can just keep the hammer down on defense now.
Will the mantra come out that Michelle talked about in the first half? Will they swarm? Will you see emotion? Will you see that attack style that Texas Tech plays? This is a huge series.
Greg McMackey's unit has got to follow suit. Now the offense has done its job twice in a row. Play fake, Garrard throws it away. On ABC Sports, January 2nd from New Orleans at 8 Eastern, the Nokia Sugar Bowl, and this may be for a half of a national championship. Number 2, Miami. Number 7, Florida. First meeting between the in-state rivals since '87, and Miami still looking to gain a share of the national championship. If they beat the Gators, if Florida State beats Oklahoma, you can bet they will claim a share of the national title.
And those of you who want to listen to that game on ESPN Radio, we're going to be there calling it.
We'll be there.
Yes, we will.
Garrard, option keeper to the 30. And 3rd and 2 coming.
Turn on your TV, turn the sound down, and tune us in.
There you go. That's it. We get to make the trip down to New Orleans, huh?
Well, Garrard really does have a lot of Dante Culpepper.
Oh, yeah. Boy, seeing him on the field before the game, his legs, I mean, they're huge. I mean, they are truly running back legs.
He has what my friend Homer Smith calls a gifted arm to go with those legs.
Again, he keeps first down, 35-yard line. Only 3 Red Raiders outweigh the East Carolina quarterback. 2 defensive tackles, and Aaron Hunt by just 4 pounds at the defensive end outweighs him.
Again, Bill, on the option, only one person. I believe it was just Aaron Hunt. I think that was it. He's the only one out there. Watch, the only man getting option. The only man is right there. One man. That's it. There's no one coming up here, and there's no one filling there.
It's because they're being blocked. See?
No roll. No corner up. The corner's got to somebody. Somebody's got to roll up.
Nelson, Samine Jones.
Henry, who has 2 touchdowns to midfield. Pickup of 16 yards, tackled by Dorian Pitts.
Man, they're just blocking them now. That's the old counter-O play that the Redskins made famous. You pull the backside guard and tackle. The backside guard kicks out, leads up in there with the backside tackle. Samine Jones, nice job. Good running to bounce to the outside and then cut it back up inside. Take the tough hit, hang on to the football. Nice running by Henry.
Clinton, North Carolina. Just across the 50. Come after Garrard. Gets it off anyway. And complete for a first down. Arnie Powell for 11 yards. And let's send it down to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, something else, you guys, that David Garrard has is a lot of responsibility right now. The most dramatic moment in the locker room at halftime was a one-on-one conversation between offensive coordinator Doug Martin and David Garrard. He said to him, if you see any player on the sideline looking at the scoreboard, I want you to wring his neck. Now is the time when you put a team away. I'll finish it after the play, Dave.
Another Garrard option. Keep it. Running through arm tackles. Close to a first down at the 28.
Doug Martin said to him, now is the time when you put a team away, and in the 4th quarter, that's our quarter. I want to see that scoreboard light up like a pinball machine. He got into David Garrard's face and said, you are responsible for that. This is your offense. Do you understand? And Garrard had one simple response. Yes, sir.
Doug Martin, 50-year offensive coordinator under Steve Logan. Garrard pick up another first down. Now to give to Henry, and this will lose yardage as Dorian Pitts knifes in, makes his 2nd good stop on this drive.
You know, that's good stuff that Michelle just told us, because a lot of times you talk about the play on the field, letting up on the field. There's not a lot of talk about what's going on the sidelines. If you lost emotion on the sideline, and the great point there, and a great job by the coach saying, if guys are staring up at that scoreboard, smack them around a little bit. Say, hey, you know, we've got to concentrate on this game right here. That's a great job of the coach, taking an area that you don't think about a lot.
It's probably, I would think, complacency is insidious. You don't really see it set in until it's already there, and then the problem, how do you get rid of it? And they want to prevent it at the outset. Rashawn Burns, 3rd time they run the tight end through the middle. Pretty good yardage every time. He's to the 20.
Excellent blocking up front by Sherwin Lacewell, the center. Aaron Walker, the left guard. Just nice work to spring that big fullback with the tight end number, and they're doing it again and again. Watch the center and the left guard. It's a simple trap play. The center blocks back to his left with Walker pulling to his right to kick out. An explosion through the hole by Burns.
Big 3rd and 2 here. And they will be close. Not sure if they're going to get this one.
Yeah, I think they're a little short here. Good stop there by Texas Tech. But, boy, Bill, you're right. I mean, on the plays where they're going up the middle with Burns, they are just gutting them right up the gut.
They're taking the aggressiveness of the defense and turning it to the offense's advantage. McMakin knows it. He's got to change things up a bit. And what Doug Martin is doing right now, he's coming out and saying, we're going to knock it right down your throat. We're going to go down and we're going to get something on the board.
And on 4th and 1, they're going to send the Kevin Miller field goal unit on.
Doug played and learned how to coach under one of the greatest of all time, Jerry Clayton.
36-yard effort here. Miller would range up to 43. Good snap and hold and kick. So the Pirates get something out of that drive after they'd surrendered 14 straight to the Red Raiders. It's 37-14.
37-14, East Carolina leading the Red Raiders of Texas Tech at the inaugural Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl. And I'm with Jerry Ippoliti, the president and CEO of Bowl Series, Inc., who put this bowl game together. It's been 13 years since Houston had postseason college football. Why was it important to bring it back here?
Well, I think when you have an event of this magnitude, I think you have to look at the timing of it. I felt that this city was very hungry for football. The new NFL stadium coming in with the new NFL franchise. Haven't had a bowl game here in 13 years, as you indicated. Also, the opportunity to play in that new stadium in 2 years. I think they had all the ingredients to have a very successful bowl game as we're having right now, Michelle.
So what you're hinting to is that this bowl game may move out of this building and into the new one in order to grow it?
Correct. We signed a 5-year contract with the stadium. We're going to play here 2 years, and then we're going into the new stadium for a 3-year contract. So it's a total of 5 years. So we're looking forward to it.
Congratulations. I know you're going to breathe a deep sigh after this is all over. Let's send it back upstairs to Dave.
All right, and that is quite a building going up next door.
Oh, yeah.
Reliant Stadium, which will be the first retractable roof football-only facility. The Houston Texans began play there in 2002. Miller angles that one just out at the 1. He almost got it beyond the pylon.
Would have been great if it was a punt.
So Texas Tech will get to take over at the 35 with this kick out of bounds. Boy, things have gone for the Raiders. Punt, pick. Didn't get a 4th down. 2 more punts, missed the field goal. And then after a punt, they finally put together a touchdown drive at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half on a 65-yard catch and run by Darrell Jones, which accounted for 45% of what had been their total offense prior to that play, which was 142 yards. Right now, that's about a third of their total offense, and they need more of where that came from. Kingsbury starts short. Cole Roberts, the tight end, a gain of 5.
And Mike, you got the binoculars out. Excellent pass protection. Give him time. He goes to his outlet man, and they come up second short. That's how the offense is supposed to work.
Well, it is. It's like an elongated running game. That is their running game, is a short pass like that. And they're in a situation that they haven't been in a lot. Is 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, even a couple of series ago, 3rd and 2. They haven't been in those situations.
On the draw, Ricky Williams with a burst across the 50.
I'll tell you what, Dave. He looks an awful lot like the old Ricky Williams to me. I'm talking about the Texas Tech Ricky Williams.
People were starting to see it toward the end of the year.
The most important thing on a draw play for the back is explosiveness. Be at full speed within 2 steps, and Ricky can do it. That knee has come back. What a wonderful player he is.
Looks like it's a good decision on his part to come back for that extra year. Kingsbury gets it off to him. And can't quite break the tackle of Jerome Stewart.
Well, a big reason it is smart to come back, and I agree with it, it's a smart, because remember a couple of years ago, 306 carries, 4th in the nation in rushing. This year he had 52 receptions. What is it in the NFL now? Marshall Faulk, Edger, and James, those types of backs, it's running and receiving. So him to come back for another year. I think it's a good move, trying to get that leg a little stronger, get the running game a little more, even though it's not used a lot here, and get the receiving in with it.
Kingsbury much better protected this half. And stumbling is Jones after he makes the catch at the Pirate 40, where it'll be 3rd and 1.
Just so that the viewers can understand what's happening here, every time Tim Rose comes after him, meaning blitzing with more than 4 rushers, he gets burned. Either the receiver is wide open, and early Kingsbury was missing. Now he's connecting, and that's keeping drives alive.
And they've been throwing it on 3rd and short. This time quarterback draw, read perfectly, no gain.
Nice job.
John Williams to the outside linebacker.
Real nice job by John Williamson. Not only is the nose guard, Amadou, spying, but various members of the defense are also spying. In this case, Williams just comes around the outside, makes the play, along with Chris Howell, number 90, who's the backup nose guard, plays behind Amadou. They were expecting a quarterback draw.
How about just running one right up the middle? I know you're a passing team, but it's 1 yard.
Nope, short pass. Should have been picked off, and it would have been off to the races for Brandon Rayner.
Really a poor series of play calls, those last 2. And then the execution clearly on the last play. Should have been 6 points for East Carolina. The drop ball, just a lucky break for Tech. And I agree once again with Mike Gullett. We set a record for agreement tonight.
We have.
If you got Ricky Williams back there, you get the guys with their butts up in the air, a 3-point stance, and you knock them back and you make a yard.
Well, we just saw him get a couple of good rushing attempts, so whoever will be back there, give that O-line a chance, come off the ball a little bit just for a yard.
Well, the detractors of the system point to just that. East Carolina, no problem getting yardage on the ground out of Leonard Henry. All the way to the Tech 32-yard line. And he is putting together a terrific night. 27 yards on his 13th carry of the night. He's up to 90 for the game.
I tell you, the moose is loose. I mean, Henry is running like an angry bull. He's loose in the secondary, and people do not want to tackle him.
Hey, there's no other way to say it, guy. I mean, this Texas Tech defense is flat out getting embarrassed. They are getting embarrassed.
The offense didn't help him on that last.
No.
2 cracks to get a yard. You got to get it. 23. Short toss, Stokes. Looks for a block from Harris. Ridden out of bounds at the 26 by Kevin Curtis. And you know, the names that we haven't called much, if at all tonight, are their leading tacklers, Blugins and Curtis. Hardly at all have they been involved.
You really have to wonder. John Norman made one big play. Right. Flugents is another. Curtis was another leader. Dorian Pitts is another leader. Led the team in big plays, tackles for losses, and they've just been blocked. And we saw Briggs turn down Henry coming into the end zone when he could have met him at the 2-yard line.
Solid stick there. Chris Kocurek, the senior leader, defensive line, co-captain.
And another name we haven't called very much. So the guys have just been handled tonight, and you got to give credit to the offensive line of the guys in the white shirts. Phoenix Evans, Aaron Walker, Lacewell, Samayan Jones, Chris Nelson.
Yeah, they got a center that's going to play at the next level. And sure with Lacewell.
Henry hit at the 29 where it's 3rd and 8. Little slant in for Stokes. First down with a marker down. Stokes reaches the 15, but the flag was thrown by the referee, Bill Lamagnier. Gain of 14 in the stand.
A little frustration setting in. East Carolina responding, which they should not do, and they're going to end up getting flagged here. They may flag both of them, but East Carolina was the last to respond there. Invariably, when you respond, you're going to get called, even if the first guy doesn't.
Yep. Roughing the quarterback. Oh.
Offsetting personal fouls. Arnie Powell is the guy who got in the lick for the Pirates.
Yep, he just got licked, too, by the professorial Coach Logan, who says, son, I would really prefer that you not do that, or words to that effect.
And I'll make it harder for you to do so because you'll be standing right here next to me.
Steve told us the other day when we played in the mud down in southern Mississippi, there was mud of biblical proportions.
It really was.
I know, but I mean, I just never heard a coach talk like that. That's a lot of mud.
Well, like you said, he was going to be a professor, right?
Yeah, was that Old Testament or New Testament mud?
Then he got hit in the head too much and decided
a lot of mud.
But they won.
A personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. That's half the distance to the goal, results in an automatic first down. We have a dead ball, late hit on the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 10. 1st and 10 after the penalty's walked off.
All right.
Where football gets complicated is inside the 30-yard line, where you got half the distance stuff, or inside the 15-yard line, I should say.
They won that slop fest in Southern Miss. They're also the only team to win in Conference USA at Louisville. And what kept them from another trip to the Liberty Bowl and another conference championship, 16-13 defeat to UAB. They were 4 points from a title, tied for second, 5-2 in the league, but stating a pretty strong case. They felt they were the best team in the league based on those 2 wins over the Cardinals and Golden Eagles. Very convincing performance tonight. Henry takes the top. 40-14, 3:52 to go in the third quarter. On the other side, Texas Tech sold its entire allotment of 9,000, and over half of their fans were told stranded back in Lubbock, snowed in, 15 inches closing the airport. Didn't even get to make the trip. Wes Welker settles for the touchback, and after a timeout, the Raiders start from the 20, down 40-14. ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2000 Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl is brought to you by Texas Instruments, the world leader in DSP and analog. East Carolina lighting up Texas Tech, and Steve Logan, after that successful field goal, lit up a couple of his blockers.
Yes, he did. Number 66, Corey Schmidt, led his men inside as the right guard on punt protection, and that is an absolute no-no. They were lucky that it wasn't blocked.
From the tenor of the conversation, you would have thought his team was down 26. Pass is too tall and incomplete, intended for Carlos Francis. Let's go down to Michelle.
All right, Dave. Well, it used to be that the Houston Oilers played in Houston, but in 2002, it's going to be the Houston Texans, and I'm with their general manager, Charlie Casserly. Had some great years with the Washington Redskins, and you already have set up a personnel staff, I understand, looking at players out there, scouting already.
Right. We got hired last January, and immediately we hired a set of scouts, and by May, we had a complete scouting staff. We've been out scouting the NFL like everybody else, so try to give us some preparation for when we start getting players a year from now.
Now, there's no way that you can be overlooking a guy, a junior, David Garrard, very good quarterback, sort of in the mold of a Dante Culpepper. That's what everyone's comparing him to. What do you see when you look at this player, and are you allowed to talk about him?
Well, I hope he doesn't get to 265. He's 235 right now. Well, we're not allowed to talk about him, but we don't draft for 2 years. So the one thing I can say is that he ought to stay in school, be there when we pick, and he's done a nice job tonight. He really has.
He talks about staying in school. Now, I know that you did a lot of ESPN radio with Mike Golick. You told me a minute ago that Mike Golick actually asks good questions, and I want to make sure, were you really talking about our Mike Golick?
I know that's hard for you to believe, and I know it's hard for everybody at ESPN to believe, but I'll tell you what, this guy is the next Mike Wallace of sports.
I've got nothing more I can add to that. Let's just send it back up to Mike Wallace and the boys.
That's terrifying.
I told you I speak good, guys.
Kingsbury's throw is through the hands of Daryl Jones and incomplete. The Mike Wallace of ESPN Radio.
Wow.
I've already got you pegged as the Charlie Weaver of the 2-minute drill.
Well, there you go. I appreciate all that.
That's a lot of hats for you to wear.
You know what? Charlie Castlery is going to do a great job, I think, with the Texans. He did such a great job with Washington. The Skins left them in good position to picks. Now things didn't turn out well there this year for the Washington Redskins, but I think he's going to do a fantastic job in starting the new team right here in Houston.
I think he's very disappointed not to be there right now.
Oh, he is, no.
Batted down right out of his hand for Kingsbury. And for Texas Tech, they had 2 really productive series. They had the big play touchdown by Darryl Jones, shut down again now.
They had some momentum, and they really had a feel for the game, and they got in that 3rd and 1 situation. They blew it on 3rd and 4th down with poor calls, I think, and the momentum really went back the other way.
And now they're giving the ball up again, and it was going well for them a bit, and I agree with you. A couple of bad calls, I thought, bad execution. They had a little momentum. They couldn't hang on to that momentum, and it's been slipping away for a while, but now they're really on a banana peel.
And the comments of the next Mike Wallace of sports. There's never been a Mike Wallace.
I love Charlie Castle. What a great guy he is.
Greathouse again kicks it away from Stokes. Returned 170 yards for a touchdown, untouched in the first half. And our Morgan Stanley Dean Witter well-connected storyline in the first half, all ECU on the scoreboard and on total yardage. Garrard 13-22 for 193. A touchdown. He has been intercepted twice. He's also carried it 7 times for 40 yards and a 5-yard touchdown.
Well, and you look at these 2 quarterbacks that we've talked about, and you look, we're talking to Charlie Castle, we're bringing up the NFL, you look at the type of quarterback in the NFL now, and it certainly is more in the mold of a Garrard than it is of a Kingsbury at this point.
Marcellus Harris to the 34, the senior out of Newport News, Virginia.
And I don't mean that out of their play tonight. I just mean out of the mold. Taking away the option, because you don't see, obviously, a lot of option in the NFL, but now the big quarterback that can run with the ball and become that extra threat. He can become that running back who happens to be able to throw the ball.
It's almost an absolute necessity at this point, isn't it? When you look at a Troy Aikman who can't protect himself by screen.
But it depends, because every now and then you get that special one. A Brian Greasy doesn't move around a whole lot. Peyton Manning, who I think is the best quarterback in the league, he's a pocket passer that can, if they can slide a little bit, but they have a smart head on their shoulders and have a great release and know where they're going with the ball, that can make up for their non-ability to run.
Garrard stumbles, still gets it off to Harris. It's a move all the way to the 48. And the yardsticks will continue to move for the Pirates, who pick up a 15 for Harris.
But guess what, Michael? This guy's got a smart head on his shoulders.
Yes, he does.
And those legs, and that arm, and the touch, and he's been extremely well coached by Doug Martin and Steve Logan. You could say the same of Dante Culpepper, who's now lighting up the NFL. And I love Brian Greasy and Peyton Manning as well, which proves that you can have both types of guys and win. Yep.
Play fake, deep drop, steps away from Hunt twice. Wow. Oh. Still buying time, and after all that, he throws it away. But about 99% of quarterbacks would have been sacked the first time by Hunt.
Going back to the smart head on the shoulders. Yep. This guy does a Francis Tarkington imitation, and then he does the right thing with the football. And you got to give Hunt credit, too. He is relentless. What I got to do to get this guy on the ground? Let's get rid of this football. It's drawing a crowd.
But he isn't even looking at the defenders, Bill. I mean, he continues to look downfield, look to make that play, because he knows he has the ability and the strength to shrug these guys. It's amazing.
Steve Logan says really a bigger version of his 2 predecessors, Jeff Blake and Marcus Crandall. Trishawn Gilliam, who carried 1 time during the regular season, and almost turned that into a big one. Again, down below to Michelle Tafoya.
You guys were talking about David Garrard. There's so much to say about him. Doug Martin said he's embraced the role of being the leader of this offense. He said you love to coach him. David trusts the coaches. He's totally given himself to this coaching staff. He studies. There's no ego. He wants to be coached and corrected. He wants to be good.
And how unusual is that? Unfortunately, it probably is pretty unusual this day and age.
Yep.
Desiring correction.
Well, that was the best aspect of Dante Culpepper. The best.
Finally, they get him, and he stays gotten. Dorian Pitts untouched on a blitz.
A blown pickup or a blown assignment by the quarterback, depending on the protection call. We don't know what that was. But if that was the first mental error I've seen Garrard make, if he's to account for the outside guy on that side, he either had a hot read or a protection call that he was supposed to make. So coming from the outside is Dorian Pitts, unblocked. Either the quarterback failed to make a call or he failed to make a hot read. One of the two.
Miller looking on what may close the third quarter. Walker coming up to take it at the 22.
Watch out.
Welker can do a lot of what Stokes can do. That is strike fear into the heart of a coverage team. Kelly Hardy brings him down after a return of 34 yards on a punt of 33 yards by Miller. Into the third, 40-14 ECU. The pounding continued during the third quarter for East Carolina. They start the fourth up 40-14. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Mike Wallace, Golick, and Michelle Tafoya. In the Astrodome in Houston, the first Gallery Furniture's Houston Bowl. Cliff Kingsbury, all alone spots Daryl Jones up the left side and out of bounds inside the 20. Jones had a 65-yard catch and run for the second Texas Tech touchdown, their biggest play of the night. They have been outgained 429 to 234. Another night, as we look at our accurate stats, where time of possession is the least instructive stat on the board.
It's amazing to see 52 yards rushing by Texas Tech. They only average 66, so they're almost right on pace for that. It's obviously those passing yards that are killing them.
Kingsbury, time to look into the end zone, and will this draw a flag? No. It won't, and King Scoble can't believe it. Reggie Hemphill had him tied up.
It looked like that should have been called. I think they missed one over there. Reggie Hemphill just spun him around, and the ball was most definitely in the air. Just when you need, that's pass interference. You cannot run into the man when the ball's on its way, and it was definitely a catchable ball. Officials don't miss many like that.
Ricky Williams goes out wide. Ball goes over the middle and inside the 5, all the way to the end zone. For the touchdown goes Cole Roberts, 17 yards.
And once again, down in scoring territory, Coach Tim Rose decides to blitz young Cliff Kingsbury, who's perfectly coached and aware of the blitz, times his throw just right. Roberts makes a nice catch and then drags the defender into the end zone, and Tim is wishing he had not gone after him. They have yet to screw up on a blitz.
BIRKHOLZ adds the extra point. Tech at least making a respectable show of itself in the second half. Cole Roberts' father, Donald, played on the most successful Texas Tech team ever, their 10-win season in 1976.
Well, I'll tell you, when this offense is in sync, it sure does look nice. I mean, they really do a nice job of moving the ball around. And, Bill, as you said, they went after him, so it's man-to-man on the tight end with the linebacker. Coverage was there. The ball was just thrown perfectly. Just let him. You see the backer in coverage.
And, you know, he throws wiffle balls.
Yeah.
That ball was not spiraling.
No.
But it was just in the right place. It was easy to catch. And it doesn't matter if it's pretty. Bobby Lane, who hung out down here in Texas early in his life, he didn't throw very pretty balls, but he went to NFL championships because he threw them to the right place.
I'll tell you what, you can throw them end over end as long as they get there.
See, this kid could have quit. Kingsbury could have hung it up and just said, well, I don't have it tonight. But he's come back and he's led his team, and that's a great encouragement. It's going to be interesting to see if East Carolina can now come back and answer again as they did last time with the field goal. In fact, they answered with 2 field goals.
Kingsbury now has some impressive numbers to show for his night. 226 yards, 21 of 34, third touchdown pass. He led the nation in completions, 362 in their 12-game regular season.
Can you imagine completing 362 passes in one season?
He'll probably get another 20 throws in the night still.
Stokes, a yard deep, bringing it out.
Oh, man.
For a minute, you said, look out, here he goes again.
What a football player. He hits that wedge like he's shot out of a cannon. He is absolutely fearless.
I just sit up here and hold my breath. I'm actually holding my breath when he runs. You're just waiting for him to come out the other end and take it to the house.
Yeah, and so many times he does.
He's another guy. He's going over to the Hula Bowl trying to have some fun over there and impress some pro scouts some more.
He'll impress some pro scouts because everybody needs somebody that will do this and come in on third down and make first downs.
Garrard 15 of 25 for 215 yards and a touchdown. Option keepers have been effective for him all night. He scored on a 5-yard run about like that one. Let's go down below to Michelle.
Well, Dave, I don't know if you knew this, but at Texas Tech, there's an old tradition of throwing tortillas onto the field when good things happen, like a touchdown is scored. Now, these have been banned from Texas Tech games, their home games, because the tortillas were thrown in such quantity that it would cover the field and cause interference. But a lot of the fans here today have brought tortillas. They're being thrown around the Astrodome, and they're being cleaned up very promptly as well.
Michelle, can you save a couple of those?
Bring them up to go.
I'd be happy to.
Throw them at Mike.
Thank you.
He'll love it.
I look at that tradition as a tremendous waste of good Mexican food.
Imagine the fajitas you can make out of those things. Are you kidding me? That's just wrong.
Mike, is it true when we ask you, our radio people at your show ask you about Christmas Day and how it went with your family, that your response was, it was wonderful because we ate a lot of ribs? Is that what you said?
You know, it's a full family is a happy family. I mean, is there some kind of rule? Is there a 15-minute rule? Pick those things up. We can still use them. Come on.
Just brush them off.
It's awful. It's carpet. It's on. There's no dirt.
Hey, Mike, I have a question for you.
Yes.
They've got corn and they've got flour. What do you prefer?
I'll go with the flour, quite honestly.
Flour tortillas? I'll gather as many as I can for you.
I appreciate that.
And a little sauce, a little extra sauce for Michael.
No problem.
But if you have to settle for corn, no problem.
No,
I'll take those too.
You kidding me? Second is something better than nothing.
Henry for gain of 1. Second and 9. Pirates will have to grind a few minutes off that clock. So again on the ground. And a loss. Quick reaction by Lawrence Flugents, whose name we've not had the chance to call too often.
Yeah, I want to go back to something Michelle said about Garrard and trusting the coaches, how he trusts the coaches in their calls. A big difference here in the offense. We talked about Kingsbury and the Texas Tech offense. He's changing plays at the line of scrimmage, calling out what he sees. Garrard rarely audibles. He usually calls what the coaches call. If he audibles, it's usually do a 3-step drop and a quick throw. He usually sticks with what the coach says. That's the trust there. And rarely does he come out of it. So there seems to be a great rapport with he and the coaches.
3 wides. And scrambling on play action and drop. Sacked at the 37. Mark Washington comes on a safety blitz.
And on the running play on second down, a nice job of the strong safety Curtis coming off the corner. Now Mark Washington, the free safety, coming on the safety blitz. Both very well timed and effective to stop this drive. And we said Texas Tech would make a run, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Second sack by the Raider defense tonight. Miller takes a high snap and hangs one high. And as he took that punt, he hit a knee, and John Norman has to settle for the 35-yard net punt. Not too often we see a linebacker returning punts. That's how versatile John Norman is. First annual Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl in the Astrodome this year and next, before they move next door to still under construction Reliance Stadium. In and out of the hands of King Scoville as Anthony Adams laid into it.
Boy, that was a nice read by Anthony Adams, one of the twins, Anthony and Antoine. We talked to him last night. One of them said, I'm 7 minutes older than the other. I don't remember which one said it.
Antoine is 7 minutes older than Anthony.
Okay.
Yep.
Both sophomores out of Greenville. Kingsbury to Derek Doris. We got the first Red Raider touchdown. It was the 34 by Greg Saturday Night Lefevre. Plays without an undershirt. How can you do that? How can you have shoulder pads just on top of skin?
Old school football. He's also got knee pads about the size of quarters.
He taped his ankles.
He cuts up his knee pads. He does not tape his ankles.
Well, he tapes his ankles right to his ankle. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't tape them at all.
Oh, he doesn't tape them at all?
He doesn't believe in that tape stuff.
33. Nothing there for Francis. Dropped immediately by our man Saturday Night.
Yeah, he's making his presence felt now, and his team, just watch his teammates, the way they respond. And this defense needs a lift to get this Texas Tech team that's suddenly become hot slowed up. Nice quick read, feels the blockers, goes beyond them. Sure tackle.
Junior out of Garden City Community College in Kansas and Ocean City, New Jersey.
He's got a brother that's a quarterback. He says he doesn't tape his ankles either. He plays up to the Northeast. Does Mike Wallace tape his ankles? That's the question of the day.
Man. I didn't think they let you go on the field without your ankles taped anymore, the coaches.
Sends one to Stokes. Can you cover it any better than Paul McClendon did? Didn't violate the 2-yard halo and knocked him straight backwards. No heroics this time for Stokes. 9:47 to go. Defense having done its job, back to the Pirate offense with 9:47 to go in the dome. And a 40-21 lead. Garrard 16-26, 221 yards. On the ground, Rashawn Burns, double duty, tight end / fullback. He powers out about 8 yards, tackled by Kevin Curtis. Well, the Texas Longhorns were the last team to win a bowl game in Houston. The last Bluebonnet Bowl, 1987, big play. A Tony Jones 77-yard touchdown catch to start the scoring. And then a run from the multi-talented Eric Metcalf to give Texas and David McWilliams a bowl win in his first season as the Longhorns head coach. 32-27 over Ironhead Hayward's Pittsburgh team. That was the final Bluebonnet Bowl. And 13 years later, postseason football returns to the Astrodome. And with the new stadium and with a couple of years some bowl tie-ins between certain conferences and certain games up for grabs, they hope that they can move onward and upward. Dorian Pitts has had a big play night for Texas Tech, and he has the fumble recovery. Art Brown never had control. It was Pitts who wrestled away a fumble number the first half.
Boy, I tell you what, they just have the slightest bit of breath left. Does Texas Tech? They're just hanging out. If they can do something with it. You see him, Pitts just dropped the ball. That was a gift for Pitts. He was just coming up on the backside trying to catch it from behind. Ball fell right into his lap. Art Brown just dropped the ball.
Yeah, if he catches it on the dead run, he runs it in the end zone, and this thing gets real interesting. But what's happened is East Carolina has gotten sloppy, and it just lost its edge, and that guy right there knows it very well, and he's a little sick in his stomach.
Defenders work at returning turnovers, too. They look for touchdowns. Short yardage on first down, Derek Doris.
This Texas Tech team played in the Bluebonnet Bowl in '76, 11 years before that. And the Texas game we just saw, they lost to Nebraska 27-24. I played in this Astrodome from '85 to '87, started my career here. And Bill, I know you played here in like the 20s. Was it?
Well, it was built in '65.
Oh.
I know you both have fond memories of the original.
I'm not going to honor that question with a response.
Bill played on the dirt spot that was going to be there.
Kingsbury running for his life, and down he goes again. First guy to get there, Warren Blair, and Greg Lefevre finished him off.
Greg Lefevre has decided to step up and jack this team up. He's really made an impact on the attitude of the defense. The offense is not playing particularly well right now. The momentum could quickly swing to the guys in the black shirts, and he's almost single-handedly preventing that.
3rd and 15. 4 targets to pick from. He goes deep up the right side, and it is caught by Baker. Wow. Tim Baker had only 1 catch early in the game for 4 yards before he hauls this one in for 30 against Grover Benton.
It looked like to me he got a little nicked when he made that catch in the first quarter.
Right. Yep.
And maybe it took a little time to recover and come off a little ankle sprain or a turn. But look at the concentration. This is how you lead the Big 12 in receiving. A 6th sideline at East Carolina for letting this blowout turn into something other than a blowout. If they score here and get the ball back again, we got a real football game.
1st and goal from the 4. Ricky Williams. And a dart back inside. He may pick up a yard.
Either somebody's head or their helmet went rolling. Oh, it was a helmet. Okay.
No head in it, thank God.
Here again, one of the weaknesses of this offensive thinking is when you get in the red zone, you really need to get in a 3-point stance and knock people back. You just don't do it enough. It's a simple matter of reps. You're not accustomed to a short yardage offense.
You know, the difference there at the end of it, we saw East Carolina do this, and you talked about their old linemen taking it in the end zone. On that last play, you saw 3 Texas Tech offensive linemen basically at the line of scrimmage on their knees, not leading it through. So there is a huge difference. You're absolutely right, Bill.
Well, they're in a 2-point stance. Tough to run block.
Fade pass. Doris comes back and brings it in. He has his 2nd touchdown. This game may not be over.
And that's Mike Leach's answer to us talking about red zone running the football. The theory is we're not going to be very good at that, but we're going to be awfully good at all the other things. Little timing, little fades, and coming back to the intentional underthrow. John Unitas was the master of that. Young Kingsbury has already learned how to do it.
Throw it up high, too. 6'2" is Doris. Baker, who caught the early one, 6'5", so they have the big receivers.
They decided to go for 2 here and try and get within 11, which would be a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion away.
Good decision.
And another fade, and will that draw a flag? Nope. Jones run down by Kelly Hardy. They say incidental contact. Kingsbury has connected with Derek Doris twice for touchdown passes to bring Tech back into it. 40-27. A long way to go. ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2000 Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl is presented by GalleryFurniture.com, the finest, fastest, most affordable store in the world. And in part by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Well, the portion of Texas Tech fans who made it in before the 15 inches of snow finally have something to celebrate. They're back in this game. It's 40-27, 6:44 still to play. They have all 3 of their timeouts. And we'll see if they have an onside kick in store. Well, they dribble it and make Stokes pick it up off 2 hops. Now, can they find him? Oh. 5th guy got him. Marcus Boyd. The reason that Texas Tech has made it a game, their first 7 drives all scoreless. Their last 7, they've come up with all 27 of their points. And it began with that last drive in the first half.
Right.
They finally got points, got a rhythm, and they pretty much stayed in it in the second half.
And I would give East Carolina the most credit for that 0 you saw in the first 7 drives because of the way they play defense against offense.
Carolina trying to use time. On the ground, it's Henry. Down below to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, a little bit of frustration building up now on the East Carolina bench, which was not evident at all early in this game. But on the defensive side of things, being unable to slow down Texas Tech on their last drive. Sophomore defensive tackle Jawarren Blair, number 44, came off the field, got in a scuffle with a couple of other players. One coach really chewed him out, and another tried to calm him down. And finally, senior defensive tackle Devon Claybrooks calmed him down. But it was looking like it might turn into something quite large, guys.
You know, they are still ahead. Time to get that out of control. Garrard moves on the option to the 32.
Very frustrating for the linebackers for Texas Tech, because this is a companion series of plays. The trap to the big fullback, and then the trap option, faking to the fullback, and suddenly Garrard's on the corner with the option. So Flugents has to step up and honor the fullback. If he doesn't, they're going to gash him right up the middle. Well, he steps up, honors the fullback, and he gets blocked, and there goes Garrard on the option. Very good series, popularized by Syracuse for about the last decade.
Texas Tech will use its first timeout, and they'll talk about how to stuff a 3rd and 3 coming for Garrard and the Pirates. It is freezing in much of Texas. It definitely is in Lubbock. But things are warming up inside the Astrodome for the Red Raiders. They're closed within 13. They need to stop a 3rd and 3 here. Swing pass. Terrence Copper spins for a first down across the 40.
What a nice call, and well blocked out there. Excellent blocking by the 2 wide receivers who accompanied Copper. Their job was to get in front of their people. It was a cross-blocking scheme. Oh, yeah. Nice job, especially by Dodd and Marcellus Harris, number 4, number 82.
Yeah, you saw the blitz come from that way, and Flugents, the middle linebacker's responsibility to get out there, but it was such a quick pass. Just seems like East Carolina's winning the chess match of play calling as well as the execution.
Now back to Henry for a couple. Leonard Henry, who has 2 touchdowns of a yard each, brought down by John Norman. Clock rolling down to 4:40. 2 timeouts remaining for the Red Raiders.
This is what happens when you go conservative, and certainly you haven't seen a deep pass in several series from East Carolina. And so what happens is the secondary is creeping up. They're not as aware. You might see a little play action and throwing the ball down the field from Steve Logan.
Up in the eye again. They're showing blitz. Garrard for 2 more. And the clock will roll under 4 minutes. Devin Lemons on the tackle for Tech.
Well, this is the best we've seen Tech handle the option. They actually have more people than the people optioning them. Number 1, and on East Carolina's side, they are staying inbounds. No pitch to the pitch man there to possibly go out of bounds, so the clock continues to run.
And very soon, Texas Tech's going to have to start using its timeouts if they want to get back in this game in a very real way. They've got to have 2 scores, 2 touchdowns to do it.
They just converted to 3rd and 3. This will be a little tougher. They need 7. Stokes with a block will get it with ease and a lot more to the 34. When they have to get it, they've got enough playmakers that they're getting every key pickup.
And that to me, Bill, is the killer instinct. You don't just run a play, maybe have to punt and keep the clock going. You throw the pass, even though it's more of a safe pass, but you take that chance to get the first down.
And the story here again is good blocking by Rashawn Burns, 89, and Arnie Powell, number 5. And a very wise Stokes staying inbounds. Beautiful. Just like a running play. Watch him cut back inside, keep that clock moving after it stopped temporarily for the first down.
Boy, Burns has done it all tonight. Running, catching, walking downfield.
He's had a heck of a game.
I guess so. 266 all-purpose yards. Leonard Henry will lose 2. So when you go back to the program that Bill Lewis left in the top 10 after 1991, they've continued what he established. And since 95, the programs in North Carolina, no one has won more than East Carolina. The least publicized, but the winningest in the state.
Winningest by percentage, certainly.
These guys are carrying a chip on their shoulder, aren't they, though, Bill? I mean, when people talk about Carolina football, they think North Carolina, North Carolina State. East Carolina doesn't jump to everybody's mind, and these kids carry a chip on their shoulder because of that.
Yeah, and they use it well.
Yes, they do.
He had nice yardage and was stripped, and Mark Washington comes away with another turnover for Texas Tech. He has an interception. Now he's got a fumble recovery.
John Heisman, the legendary Georgia Tech coach, is supposed to have said with a football before his squad, "Men, it is better that you should have died as a small boy than that you dropped this." And that's what something like that Steve Logan may say to Burns when he gets back to the bench. Of all the wonderful things he's done, this was the one thing he could not do to let these guys have a little hope again. Now they've got a glimmer.
All year, they lost only 5 fumbles, 4th best in the country. They were +4 in turnovers for the season, so this has really come totally out of character for them. The only flaw in their game, 5 turnovers. Oh, can't drop that one. Man, oh man, Darryl Jones has to hang on to that and turn it up for big yards.
That's the second big drop for Jones. Of course, his play was the one that sparked his team in the first half. The long distance run, and he made a nice catch on a poor throw then, but you got to look those in and make those count. And Darryl knows it.
Seems like everybody's looking to make the big play now. Where are they going after the catch? Forgetting the most important thing.
I think that's exactly what happened.
And forgetting the most important thing of making the catch first.
2-man rush for the Pirates. So Kingsbury's got all day.
And nobody to throw to.
Still rolling, still nobody. Now pulls up, and a diving attempt by Baker, and he can't come up with
it. 2-man rush. That is something you don't see too often.
Well, what we saw in the first half that is even less often seen was they were getting pressure with a 2-man rush.
3rd and 10, needing 2 scores, minute 48 to get it. But first things first, they got to get 10 yards in the next 2 snaps.
Big Devon Claybrook saying, "I got to do this almost by myself." Now they're bringing 4.
Over the middle, and stuck.
Good football
Baker
play.
Hit by Antoine Adams.
Good football play. Good offense, good defense.
Yep, and first down, so the clock stops. All they move the chains, and Texas Tech will get right up on the ball and be ready to go.
Here comes the Tim Rose wave effect. The charge of the Light Brigade. He sends another unit out there to keep fresh troops going.
3 to 10, got 11. Running out of bounds is King Scoble. Get the clock stopped at a minute 28.
You talked about the people running in and out. Bill, Tim Rose will use up to 25 players on defense for East Carolina. He likes to keep the troops fresh, and they know the count. They go by a count system, especially the linebackers. Usually 6 plays in, 6 plays out. The players just naturally run on and off the field themselves.
On the 48. 4-man rush. Too tall. Incomplete. Intended for Carlos Francis.
Yeah, but that was catchable too, and that's back to what you were talking about earlier. Players substituting themselves, and we talked about the players trusting the coaches. Right. Now this is the coaches trusting the players. Substitute yourselves. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. I mean, and we talked about, do you want to get into a rhythm? You want to try and have players get into a rhythm. These players don't care. They don't mind the substituting, and it's working tonight. I mean, they are absolutely keeping this offense, for the most part, penned in for this late run.
3rd and 2. Baker diving. Did he get out of bounds to stop the clock? Yes.
The turf monster got him.
Fumbled it out of bounds to stop the clock at a minute 16.
Yeah, and I think he meant to fumble it out of bounds to stop the clock.
So too.
That's a pretty smart play.
I think he's a very cagey player. The turf monster got him by the ankle, though, and got him on the ground.
Very smart, though. That you've got to conserve every second you can.
Smart as a tree full of owls.
Huh? Sometimes I just don't get you.
When do they take the deep shot? Has to come sometime. Leaping catch at the 35. Eric Doris, 11 yards, another first down. Clock stopped 1:04.
Dave, we don't have a time for a replay, but the reason they can't take the deep shot is because of the line of white shirts. after the ball is snapped, it's lined up about 15 yards deep, and it's going to be intercepted if they do. They're forcing them to take the underneath stuff.
Kingsbury keeping for another first down and inside the 20, 49 seconds. That helps at 16 yards. 2 timeouts, 49 seconds. Don't want to have to use one here.
Many coaches think the best play in football is the quarterback running straight up the middle when he's got an opening and making that first down.
Rolling at 40 at 39. From the short toss, Ricky Williams heads out of bounds, gets to the 15 at 30 seconds.
Well, they're going to have to start taking the shot toward the end zone here soon. I know they're trying to conserve the timeouts and trying to stop the clock, but
right now, even if they score on the next play and get an onside kick, they're still fighting the clock badly if they get one more possession. From the 15, Kingsbury scrambling, keeping, gets out of bounds for no gain, and that took 8 seconds.
Should have thrown that away and saved several precious seconds. But he's young, and Coach Leach will teach him that if he doesn't eat that pin before this thing's over. We've all chewed a bunch of pins, Mike. I don't blame you, buddy. He's kept his team in this thing. They're fighting back. They've made it respectable, and it's not over.
Got to really make sure the cap's on when you do that, don't you? Oh, that ink in your mouth?
Well, it messes up your shirt and your jaw.
Yeah, it was 34-7. Not many foresaw this moment. 3rd and 6. This one to the end zone, one-on-one. And intercepted by Kelly Hardy, his second of the night. And it wraps up the win for ECU.
Well, they tried to go to Baker, 6'5", throw it up in the air, hope that he can out-jump. Good positioning, though, by the defender. The ball a little underthrown. He was able to get it at its highest point. See, again, throwing it up, wanting to get the jump ball, but it's underneath. Good job of getting up in the air by Hardy, taking it at its highest point. Great job, boxed him out like a power forward.
Yep, and Tim's out on the hash. He wanted to make the play himself. The ball has to be thrown over the outside shoulder of the receiver so that he's the only one that has a chance to catch it.
East Carolina, after losing the inaugural Mobile, Alabama Bowl to TCU last year, points toward a bowl victory all 2000. And Steve Logan has it in the first Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl. Going 4 seconds on the clock. Texas Tech has 2 timeouts. Surely not calling one here, or are they? They are.
Yeah.
And they're getting booed for it.
Yeah.
Not much point. But the dousing's already taken over for Logan, as opposed to worried about the clock and the score.
Well, there may be some ridicule about this timeout, but you're trying to teach your team that you never quit.
Sure.
Never quit. You use every single timeout. You use every resource in an attempt to fight to the end, no matter how hopeless it is. And that's probably what the staff's teaching.
And now it's in the books. East Carolina completes an 8-4 2000 season. They're the first winners of the Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl.
And Steve still hadn't smiled. Surely he'll smile here once this sinks in. He's still been jumping on people the whole 4th quarter.
Mike Leach and Texas Tech in his first season as head coach. 7-6 in 2000. They made it a game. They were down 34-7 at the half. They fought back, and they caused some nervous moments for David Garrard and Steve Logan in the 4th quarter, but he did get the winners dousing with a 40-27 win. We'll be back in Houston in a moment.
Seats available in that Furniture Bowl out there. The Pirates got off to a fast start. Keith Stokes takes the punt, goes untouched all the way into the end zone for a 71-yard punt return for a touchdown, and this would be a sign of things to come for the Pirates tonight. Then it's David Garrard. He heaves a bomb to Derek Collier. It goes 44 yards for a touchdown. And as of right now in the fourth quarter, it is 40-27 in favor of ECU.
2 touchdowns, 17-27, 229 through the air. Darrell Jones for Texas Tech. 6 catches, 147 yards, and a 65-yard touchdown. And let's send it down to Michelle Tafoya.
I can't hear Dave. All right, with Steve Logan, you know, what happened early in this game was that you scored easily. They blocked the point after. You countered with the onside kick, which you recovered. Was that a scripted tone setter? Because it really did seem to take any momentum away from Tech early.
The onside kick was scripted early. We saw something on film we had a chance to take advantage of, and it came in, obviously, at a nice time.
I mean, you guys lost in your bowl game last year. You didn't want to do that again, and immediately this team took control of the game.
I'll tell you, they had a great focus the moment we got the bowl bid about a month ago. They got together and said they're going to go win this game, and it's a credit to the kids.
And I know that it's a win, and they played brilliantly, particularly in the first half, but I know there were some things you would have liked to have seen different in the fourth quarter, which is normally your quarter.
Well, just the turnovers kept the game close. We just got to hold on to the ball. But I'll tell you what, we've won 23 games in the last 3 years and about 52 games in the last 6 years. We're averaging almost 8 wins a season. That's what I'm proudest of, is the long-term, almost, I don't want to say excellence, but it's a long-term run of really good football.
Congratulations. I have about time to ask one question of David Garrard. Just a tremendous performance at quarterback. At halftime, you were told to take control of this game. A little bit different in the second half than the first. What made the first half so great?
Well, the guys just came out the gates. They came out prepared, mentally focused. Everybody just came out with a tremendous energy, and we just made things happen. Keith Stokes, all my receivers, the line, everybody just came out prepared.
Are you going to stick around for one more year?
I am.
Good to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hello, everybody back in Greenville. I just want to tell everybody hello.
Let's send it back up to Dave Barnett.
All right, memorable night for David Garrard and the Pirates, and they will take home the first Gallery Furniture Houston Bowl trophy. 40-27 win for Michelle Tafoya, Bill Curry, and Mike Golick. So long. This is Dave Barnett. Good night from Houston. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
The Pirates of ECU squared off against Texas Tech in the inaugural and possibly final GalleryFurniture.com Bowl in Houston. Steve Logan had his guys rolling early. First quarter, David Garrard says, let's get it on, and he scores. And the Pirates were on top 7-0. Later first quarter, Keith Stokes taking the Tech punt, and he would go untouched. 70 yards, number 14 cruising on in for 6 more points. Pirates on top 14-0. Second quarter now, watch the pass from Garrard. Great grab by Derek Collier. Super catch, and the Pirates win it tonight. 40-27, beating Texas Tech.